So, hey everyone, Luke here again with Polyjump to talk about the latest happenings from Weekly Shonen Jump, and also hi once more, hi DC Malasira. Thanks for the pre-stream comments. Hope you stay for the streams, and Sky Serid on Twitter. I hope you were able to make it as well.
Hey guys.
Yeah. So I guess the thing we should start off with first is, even though I don't read the series myself, is just give a congratulations to Mashal for the 2-year anniversary that they've done, as we can see from what we're seeing right now. So well done, Mashal. 2 years, pretty good run you've had.
Yep. And it's gonna end soonish. It's funny because right now what's going on, I guess, for their second anniversary is this somewhat climactic battle. I don't know if it's as hyped as they wanted it to be, but it was still a pretty good fight for what's happening.
Okay.
I don't think it was the best fight this week, though. Even that was Jujutsu Kaisen, but
All right, yeah. There was quite a lot of battles this week. From what I see, we had Dora Dora and Ayashima, and what you said with Jujutsu Kaisen.
yeah, and Black Clover too.
Oh
So
yeah, Black Clover. We'll get to Black Clover. We'll get to that one. Uh, but
okay.
but yeah, I
So what do you want
guess
to start with? Did you make any promises this week on what we
I,
start with?
I did not make any promises this week, so we can start with whatever we feel like starting with. So so I guess we could start with what we were usually doing, talk about Ayashimon and Dora Dora, and go from there.
Yeah, sure. Seems
Yeah.
to be a good
So
pattern we have.
yeah. So which one do you want to start with?
Oh, hey, Dan Vivo. Let's see. I'd start with Doron Doron because I think that's much more straightforward, and I have some things I do want to say with that one too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, we'll start with Doran Doran. And hiya, Danny Theo. Yeah. Thank you for coming. So yeah, Doran Doran. Yeah, I have a few things to say. Yeah, like people are saying, this is pretty much the Grand Fisher fight in Bleach at the moment.
I mean, yeah, it's very obviously that, but yeah, I think the stuff I have to say is a little more towards the end. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna
So
write down the time for us. But yeah, we can get started.
okay, yeah. So basically, the chapter starts off with that ball demon from last week, and Dora basically like, oh crap, this is the same but Mo- Mona Mononosuke that killed my mom, and freaking out everything, basically going into like a devil mode, just being fueled by his emotions. And Kutsamagi is basically like, Dora, what's going on here? Are you doing anything? We're falling apart. We're gonna die here. We've got to bugger on out. We've got to bugger on out of here. And getting away from the battle. Thank God they got away from that point. But of course, we have the mouse, Mononoke, who's basically like, oh my, they've left me right here. I have got to get out of here right away before he gets stabbed by a needle by this like bull spider thing, whatever. What how would you describe this thing?
I mean, last week I think it said it called itself an ox demon, but yeah, it's like part spider, part bull. So I
Yeah.
guess it's like a bull spider.
Yeah, and it's basically like, to this mouse, oh, why did you let my food escape? Obviously referred to Kuzumagi and Dora. Uh, and he's like, oh, I should just let you kill you, right? Basically toying with like this mouse by saying like, I should just kill you right now, but I'll give you one last chance since you bought me so many meals. So if you could stand before 10 seconds are up, I'll let you live. But of course, the needle has made like this mouse all numb. So it's basically like a numbing needle, like, which anybody who's been to like a dentist knows, like, that how annoying they can be at times. So the mouse can't move, and then the ball is like, okay, that's not in. Okay, that's not enough. That's not enough time. You're gonna get killed, but it's still not enough substance for me. So I'm gonna be and I won't be satisfied until I kill more. So the question is like, how satisfied is this ball thing gonna be until it's completely satisfied?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be insatiable.
Yeah, yeah, because we don't have we've not seen like any upper limits like how much you can devour before it's like, well, that's nice. I'm gonna go and bugger off for a while until I'm hungry again.
Yep, really.
Yeah,
So, but for some reason, I don't know why it started to, why it was hiding away for so long and just got out. Also, on page 5, I just realized now that I'm looking at this chapter again, at the very top of this with the sound effects, the
yeah.
translation seems to say Doro Doro Doron. So does the name come from some kind of sound effect that the Mononosuke are making?
I'm I'm guessing that's sort of what it's being applied here. I mean, it might just be a more like a do 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 do.
Uh,
So that's the best way I can describe it.
I mean, huh? Because if that's the case, it's kind of funny that it's not really been brought up. So I actually just saw it.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
might.
yeah. So then we have Kusanagi saying, "Okay, we need to like leave. We can't beat this guy." But then Dora really wants to fight.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, you can't really fault Dora for his actions in this chapter because it's basically him going up against the thing that killed his mother. Of course he's gonna be reacting on impulses. Then, like, okay, now this is a grudge match. I have to take you down at this point. So really, whilst it was emotional on his part, it's like you can't really blame him for being the meathead here because anybody would have reacted in his situation.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So basically, he's like, "Oh, it's fine, Katana," and this is probably like the first time Kusanagi has been like actually like, "Holy crap, I'm gonna crap my pants because of how Dora is talking to me." So we have him going up to the Orcs with Kusanagi as a katana, but of course the Orcs is too much of a hassle for them, despite the best effort and despite Dora saying like, "Oh, you're dead meat," and everything. Kusanagi's blade won't cut him, and he's like, "Look, we have to come up with a new strategy here. You can't be just charging him right away." But of course, Dora being in his like mental state at the moment, is not listening to him, and basically results in them getting results in Dora getting a needle stuck through his leg, which despite having the needle in his leg, like this just goes to show like the stamina from like Dora himself. Like despite the fact he got a needle stuck in him, he's like, I'm not gonna let this affect it myself, and he ends up jumping out of the way. But of course, um, despite being able to jump out of the way, he still has the needle in him. So the ball spider Mononoke just flicks him far away onto the side and just crashes into a side of a building. And what I love most about this is the fact that despite being in like this berserker mode rage, he's still cares enough about Kusanagi to be like, okay, are you all right? Can you still fight at this point?
Yep, I agree with that. So there's still a part of him that's
Yeah,
intact. And Sky said, "Yeah, this is a pretty good chapter."
pretty good chapter. Just read that Dora chapter and it was pretty good. A lot better. Yeah, I agree. It was a lot better than the previous chapter. I feel like with the previous chapters, they kind of needed to be in there to set up everything. But I feel like this is when we're actually going to get into like the meat, for lack of a better word, the meat of the series, and it makes me wonder from this chapter, like this, uh, do, does Dora have latent like spiritual powers that can only be like properly awakened when he's in like a really emotional state like this one?
I'm wondering that too because at first when he got stabbed with that needle spike thing, he said he couldn't move, but then he was able to jump out of the way, and then we see him pull the thing out, and still go. So it could just be like his adrenaline is just that high, or he might have some latent abilities he doesn't know about.
Mm. Yeah, my theory about all of this is that it's considering the title is called Together, that might actually be a double meaning. Like, okay, Kusanagi and Dora are in this together, but maybe like we've been saying, Kusanagi can make himself into any shape and anything. So who's to say that he can't like what I was saying last week? He can't combine himself with Dora at some point.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about that
Yeah,
last
that's what
time too.
that's what I said. Like we were talking about it last week, and I feel like this is kind of like setting up that in a sort of way. Like it might have a double meaning with the chapter being titled Together.
I mean, we don't see it this chapter though.
No, we don't, but that might actually be something that will come up later because of it, because it because if that's the case, then that would be very reminiscent of Bleach as well. Not in the sense of like Ichigo and Zangetsu kind of like combine themselves to get together, but while they kind of did in the final arc because of Ichigo achieving his full hollow mode. Maybe Dora might achieve a full Mononoke form, if that makes sense.
Big,
Yeah,
but and yes, guys, I also hope this survives the X.
yeah, I
And
feel like
funny enough, I was oh
I
yeah, I
was.
just wanted to say quickly
Yeah, go ahead.
on the Control Chaos Discord, like I was talking to some people that Magu-chan looks like it might be actually wrapping up its story pretty soon. So you know, with that wrapping up and Doctor Stone possibly ending this year, maybe we won't see too many Axis. At least because I do want to see this series survive.
Yeah, I do as well. Like this and Ayashimon, after these two chapters, I do want them to survive. I feel like, just going back to what you were saying about Dr. Stone, I feel like at this point, I'm giving it until 250 before we
Well,
start
we can
wrapping
talk
up.
more about that when we get
Yeah,
to Doctor
we
Stone.
could talk more about that when we get to Dr. Stone. But yeah, I feel like the next series to go might be at this point Protect Me Shigamaru.
I mean, I feel like it has to be, but we're still kind of waiting to see how the rankings go in
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah.
Because I don't know,
I mean,
Japan has weird taste sometimes.
yeah. I mean, didn't it have its first ranking this week? Like it
It
was
did, but it
eight.
was just kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. We're not denying that Dr. Stone is definitely ended this year. It's just a case of when it ends. That's what we're saying. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, back to the chapter. So yeah, we have Kusanagi saying to Dora, like, we won't win just by stabbing it. Like, Dora, just use your head for once. We won't win by stabbing what's going into you. And then this is when we get the big reveal that yeah, the thing killed my mother. I won't be satisfied until I kill it with my own hands. And then Kusanagi then starts to like back up a bit, like, oh, that's the reason why he's been like this. And starts to like understand where Dora's coming from, which I'd like to like. Which again, I'd like to think that Kusanagi is going to be connected to not just Dora, but China. Oh, what was her name again? The female character,
Chio, something like that.
Jin Chio. Like I've been saying, like he's going to be connected to them too in some way. Like Kusanagi probably made friends with Dora's mother at some point before, probably even before Dora was actually born.
Well, we'll see. I think
Yeah,
we've speculated on a possible connection. Oh, and Sky said, yeah, that editor in chief does really enjoy gag manga.
yeah,
So you're not wrong.
yeah. So yeah, Kusanagi is like, I feel for your pain right now, but he questions whether is this what I am to you, Dora, a tool for revenge? And then Dora's like,
Yeah,
fine, if you
that
don't.
line hit really hard for
Yeah,
me.
oh yeah, it did, because in a way that can be applied to many shonen manga at some point where the main character goes like into a berserk mode. It makes you question like, is this really all I am to you? Just a tool for revenge, like their best friends and like their weapons and that. So yeah, that kind of hits home a lot when you really think about it. And um Kusanagi's like, look, I want to fight to protect people, not to get vengeance, but I want us to fight together. And if we keep fighting like this, you'll be killed, Dora. And Dora's just not listening to him at this point. So this is where Kusanagi kind of changes his wording a bit, and he says, "I know it's super selfish of me, but most of all, I don't want to lose you, Dora." And this is when it's like Dora kind of like takes a step back and thinks like, "Oh my, Kusanagi is pretty much the only family I have at this point," as he's remembering his mother and her saying, "Please live a long life, Dora. Promise me that." And Kusanagi's just begging, like, "Please remember who you are, Dora." And after that, he calms down. So I'm glad that at that moment he was like, "Yeah, this is not what my mother would want me to be." So it's kind of
That's true. I did want to say though that I did think the line "Please remember who you are" felt a little bit weird. I'm not sure if that was what the translation issue or it's just the author's actual like he said something like that. But I always think lines like "Please remember who you are" work better when the character is like under like mind control or amnesia or something. In
okay,
this line,
fair
he was
enough.
just really. I don't think like Dora's ever been. It's like Dora, go back to being a cool-headed character because that's not who he is. So it felt a little
No,
off to me. I did this. That's one of the things I did want to bring up this chapter. That line felt a bit awkward to me.
I guess it was more. I guess it was more of a case of like Kusanagi sees Dora as someone who's like, yeah, he's a meathead, but he's a meathead with a heart of gold, and he's not someone who would just go in at like blind revenge. So like he's saying like, this isn't like you, Dora.
I guess that is true.
So yeah, we have at this point Dora saying to Kusanagi, "Yeah, please forgive me. I've made a mistake here, and you're right. I'm always making mistakes. I lost my temper and I couldn't think straight. I wasn't being fair to either of us. But again, Dora, we can't blame you in this situation because you're going up against the thing that killed your mother. So yeah, we can't really blame you for losing yet for getting a little bit angry at that point.
Yeah,
So
I'm so glad he apologized though.
but yeah, I'm glad he apologized. But again, I'm not really gonna blame. I'm not gonna really blame him because that's just a natural human reaction that would have at that point. Yeah. Um. So he says, "Yeah, I wouldn't want my mother to see me like this." And he's like, and Kuznagi's saying like, "Even though I'm a Mononoke, one of those things you hate, you still accept me." So yeah, I like that line. Like he's seeing Dora as like, yeah, he hates some Mononoke, but he doesn't hate all of them. Like, so he's not I guess, racist, if that makes sense.
I do, in a sense. I mean, Sky's Ed, I think his better way of saying it. This is just really good character development for him.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. This was a really good like character development moment for both of them. But yeah, so um, Kusanagi's saying, "Oh, thank you, Dora," and of course, bawling his eyes out because that's what Kusanagi does. Like honestly, Kusanagi versus Deku, bawling eyes out match. Who would win?
That actually would be funny.
Like that would be a good crossover. Like you just have Dora and Kusanagi go into the My Hero world and meet Deku, and they're like, "Oh, you don't have any powers. We don't have any powers ourselves." And then and then they're just bawling their eyes out.
Yep, that would be funny.
Yeah.
But
So
I did like
yeah,
the
go
little
ahead.
fist bump thing they had at the end of the page because Kusanagi's just punching his face
I
into Dora's
know.
fist. It's so funny, but also like really wholesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So they do like that. The fist bump that they have for each other, they're like, "Will you keep on fighting with me?" Of course. And then the bull demon finally starts to show its face by saying, more food to satiate my appetite." And then they're like, "Let's go, Kusanagi." And that's where the chapter ends. So basically, going back into the battle to kind of um, the, it, take care of this creature. Now, my question is like, how is this actually going to go down? Is Jinchio going to show up, and is it going to be like a 2-on-1 tag team?
I feel like Junchio definitely has to show up. But one thing I did find a little weird about the end of this chapter, and which kind of what throws it off for me, honestly. It's just the fact that this entire time, um, Kusanagi was saying, it's like, okay, we can't just rush in to fight, but ultimately the chapter ends with them rushing in to fight. They don't
Yeah,
even have a
but
plan or anything.
yeah, but I feel like they have got a plan at this point. Like, even though, yeah, they are rushing in to fight it, they probably do have a plan to take it down rather than just brute force. They're probably gonna. I think they're gonna probably try to use some of the buildings as sort of like the Virgin and get it and get the and sort of like set up a trap. Also, it'll probably be more like they'll stall until Jinchio gets there.
Mm, I mean, could be.
Yeah,
We'll see next chapter because clearly, like, I mean, as great as the chapter was, there were like a few weird moments I think that did take away from it for me. But
yeah,
overall, a decent chapter.
yeah, a decent chapter, and I'm looking forward to finding out what's going to happen next. So yeah, I
Same.
guess that's really all we have to say on Dora Dora.
Oh, also, I guess I do want to say that
Go ahead.
I don't think the bull demon's gonna actually be taken down too easily. I mean, because he's supposed to be like this super strong Mononoke that has taken out samurai before. So
Yeah,
I feel like he's not one I really want the characters to be able to beat down so easily. Either one, they Jinchio called in reinforcements, or two, the Mononosuke gets away somehow.
yeah.
I
It
think that
might
would be better.
it
Well,
might be a case of yeah, Jinchio has called in reinforcements, and it's the head of this branch of the whole samurai corporation.
yeah, somebody like that. Even
Yeah,
if it's at the head, at least somebody higher up the ladder than she is.
yeah, and it could potentially lead into them saying like, "Oh, we've got a Mononoke here," like that. They actually put Dora and Kusanagi on trial
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
because
the only thing is, I mean, I do agree that would be a little cliche, but to be fair, that's kind of what this manga does.
yeah,
Because Yuji had like a whole, oh, I'm going to imprison you because you ate a demon thing, and then and a lot of other series have done similar
yeah,
things,
and
but
if
it's fine. We have to
yeah,
get it over with.
yeah, and didn't Demon Slayer do that at one point?
Oh yeah, yeah. The I think right before the Mugen Train arc, they captured Tanjiro, and then they were testing his sister. Yep. So yep, same thing
Yeah.
happened there.
Yeah, so it might actually be because from what I remember from that scene, it was basically they were trying to get Nezuko, that was her name, to try and eat blood, and she wouldn't do it. So I think that's what they're gonna try and do with Kusanagi, like try to get him to eat a human, and he's gonna be like, "No, I'm not gonna do that."
Yeah, that could work. And honestly, why not?
Yeah, yeah, why not? I mean, nothing wrong with cliches if they do something different with them, and I could feel like th- this might actually do something different. It might not. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I guess let's move on to Ayashima then.
yeah, yeah. I've got to say, right off the bat, that twist at the end. We'll get into it. I was not expecting that when I when because I was reading the chapter coming home from work, and when I read that point, I was just like, "What?" I literally just
Oh,
went. I literally just took a step back. I was like, "What?"
yeah, yeah. Neither of us saw that one coming.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
we'll
let's
get.
start talking about.
So first thing we've got to talk about is just this absolutely stunning color page of Big Sis.
Yeah, the funny thing is when I saw the color page, I actually thought, at least the way it looked, I thought, oh, okay, my prediction's gonna happen because it looks like an older version of her. So I thought, and what's funny is, I actually thought of a much better example in between our discussions. Like Nell. Nell would have been a much better example to explain what I thought was gonna happen. Where you have like a small girl, but then they have a more powerful version, which is like an older version of them.
All right. Well, you weren't wrong,
I
as we'll soon
mean,
see. You were kind of right.
yeah, well, even the color, when I saw the color page, I was excited because I'm like, yes, I was right. But it wasn't exactly what I thought.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
I love the title of the chapter over my dead body. because
Oh
that's
yeah,
pretty much.
especially because the actual meaning doesn't kick in till the end, which is
But
nice.
no, I like to think it's also another double meaning, like the fact that that oh, what's his name again?
More.
More, that's it. More basically is a dead body at after this whole chapter, pretty much.
I
Yeah,
was right about him, but yeah, we'll talk about that when we
yeah.
get there.
But yeah, I feel like the fact that we've got a color page this early on for Ayashimon, right after its initial release, makes me think that yeah, this series is gonna be around for a while. They
I'm still not fully convinced even that, just because I do remember I think Phantom Seer got like one color page fairly early on, but then nothing after that. So I mean, I still think this is like the safest of the newer series, but it's still I'm not gonna like
yeah.
get too
Uh,
excited for it just yet.
So yeah, so continuing on with the from the last chapter, Mo is basically getting the crap beaten out of him still by Dopo, who's pretty much at this point just toying around with him, and Big Sis, no, Maru, that was it, Maru. Well, I'll remember this. Couldn't they have just called him Derek?
I mean, to be fair, it took you a while to get even Dora correctly.
Yeah, Dopa. It took me a while to get them down. Yeah, but yeah. So we have Moru basically being beaten to smithereens by Dopo, who's toying with him at this point, and
Yep,
basically
we
just
even get a JoJo's reference too.
what's the JoJo's reference?
Oh, sorry. I on page 4 we have an aura.
All right. Uh, uh, oh, oh yeah. I can see it. I can see it now. Yeah, it's just that I've not read or watched JoJo, so I was like, what's that reference?
Oh, I thought you did because I
But
thought you
that,
talked about Jotaro's before, so I thought, oh, okay, you know JoJo's. My bad.
no. It was because in that Witch Watch chapter they specifically said it was Jotaro, so I knew that was from JoJo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, never mind then. But yeah, JoJo's reference.
yeah, yeah. So, and Dopo, it's basically saying, "Look, how many times do I have to tell you this is not going to work against me? Just get it into your thick skull here." And Moro is basically saying like, for lack of a better word, screw the rules. I'm a shonen protagonist, even though I don't know I'm a shonen protagonist, and
Yep.
he's not going down that easily. And Ten is just like, yeah, big sis, we've got to get out of here. Got to get out of here quite quickly. But Dope was like, yeah, no, you're not getting out of here. And
He just makes
okay,
a whole
yeah,
storm.
yeah, he has an okay. So we're just gonna add another ability to Dopa's OP ability. Well, not really OP, but like broken ability for early on bosses.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was strong, but this is like a whole new level.
Yeah, I generally believe that Dopo might actually be like just the main villain of the entire series at this point. Like, I don't think we're going to get anyone else at this point as strong as he is, unless somebody has, I don't know, the ability to slow down time or something.
Yeah, again, I think you incidentally made another JoJo's reference. Final bosses always have time powers.
Oh,
But yeah, I did think something about what you said is on page 8, he says, "The knife is mine, now you die." Um, I was thinking about what you said that these two are potentially related in some way. And
yeah,
the knife, to my memory, was like a family heirlooms thing. So it could be he's trying to claim the knife because that's his big thing this chapter, because he feels like he wants it for himself.
yeah. It could be the case of the fact that as we'll get into the twist at the end of the chapter, this could be like that power that Big Sis has. That probably was meant to be for him, but it actually went to her. And he's like, how dare you? Like, that's supposed to be my power. I want it.
Yeah, could very well be.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, once again, like, just this author just does a great job of just like, if there's any villain at this point that's like um oh, who's the scariest at this point? It's probably Dopo at this point. Just like the shading that he does on his face in that panel, like showcase just how absolutely terrifying he is.
Yep.
Yeah,
But what's also funny is just as terrifying as he is, Moro also comes off as kind of scary just because of how he's standing up to him the entire
yeah, yeah.
chapter.
Which I get the feeling that if Shonen OG ever read the series, he'd probably be saying like, "Oh, this is Ibara done right from Doctor Stone."
I don't know about that. That feels like they're like very different characters, so
I
I
know,
don't
no,
know
but
about.
what I'm saying is that Ibara, while scary, wasn't particularly like uh threatening in terms of like how he could easily just be the main character, be like Senku, whereas Dopo it basically is intelligent. It's well, no, more like Ibarra was, while scary, wasn't exactly intelligent or as charismatic, whereas Dopo is intelligent, charismatic, and scary all at the same time, and he actually has the skills to pay the bills.
I mean, I think Ibarra was fairly smart. He was more, it was more wisdom than intellect, I guess. But still,
I guess,
I
yeah,
don't. But
I get,
that's a conversation for another day.
yeah,
Either
there is.
right now, I think my favorite part. Well, not my favorite, but like one of the best parts of this chapter was just getting a giant boulder to the face. Moro just like tank that, broke
Yeah.
it, and just kept laughing. And at this point, I think this is when I was like 100% convinced that this character, he's like not going to be afraid of Dopo. He's just that battle crazy.
Oh yeah,
That's kind of what I
definitely.
was. That's what I was saying like last week. I don't think this is fight's going to like scar him or at all. He's not going to be terrified. He's going to be excited to fight this guy again.
Okay, but there's gonna have to be a villain at some point that's really gonna have to be like have Morrow take a step back for a minute and just have like a more of like, can I actually beat this guy?
I mean, I feel like if they did want to go that route, they would probably have to do a more psychological villain versus like a bruiser like Dopo.
Yeah, fair
Uh,
enough. Fair enough. Well, I feel like Dopo could do like the psychological twist at some point.
Sorry, I guess what I meant more is like Dopo's powers are still like physical combat based. I meant more like someone who could affect more mentally. I don't know
Oh
how
right,
these superpowers work, but assuming that they not everybody's going to be like some kind of fire user like Fire Force, they
yeah,
could probably vary the powers a bit.
yeah,
I think
they
we'll
could.
need a different power set to scare Moro.
Yeah, I yeah, I could definitely see that happening. And yeah, like you said, yeah, after this chapter, I don't. You kind of like it kind of put a nail in the coffin of my fear of like Morrow being scared of Dopo. Although it might be a case of like he's just like in such an adrenaline motion that when he actually when he actually does take a moment to step back and he's just thinking about Dopo, that's when it could have kind of like kick in for him, like that guy almost killed me. So it's
Mm,
probably
I don't know. We'll see, but
we'll, we'll
I highly doubt it.
we'll
Honestly.
see. We'll see. I mean, yeah, I mean, it might happen. It might happen. It might not. We'll just see. But I like to think that it might that he's just in such a battle prowess moment that the moment he steps back and starts thinking, and that's probably when he's like when it starts like all hit him like a brick to the face of just like how of just like how strong that guy was and how he almost nearly killed him.
Mm, could be the case, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like in character for him.
Yeah. Um, I'm just saying it because it's like he wants to be a shonen protagonist or protagonist in general, um, and uh, and yet at some point there has to be a point where the main character is like um taking a step taking a step back of just like, yeah, this villain, can I actually beat them? Will I actually die in this battle and actually be more afraid to actually go into battle. I feel like that's a route that the author could take with Maru.
Hmm. I don't think it will though, but we'll find out.
Yeah,
I did like the kind
yeah,
of way they integrate his love for manga because they kind of explained it in like a very profound way. I wasn't expecting.
yeah. I like that as well. I really love this chapter a lot. It was probably after Doctor Stone. It might actually be my chapter of the week.
I mean, for me, I don't know. It's like Jujutsu Kaisen was still again really good, and I did like Doctor Stone, but well, I don't know. I'm not sure if it would be my chapter of the week. If I had to pick one off the top of my head, it might be Jujutsu Kaisen,
Okay,
just
that's
because that was a
fair.
really good bet.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, we have Maru basically just like I love the fact that he's just trying to get his Super Saiyan moment here because you have like you see Dragon Ball there when he's thinking about manga. He's like, I love manga, especially battle manga. I love watching the protagonist fight, and then and then he's just like falling back at that point. So it's just like, I'm losing a lot of blood here. I'm gonna fall down.
Yep.
Yeah. So he starts thinking about how he wants to be the main character in a manga someday. So I trained. It's not because they're good guys. They're awesome anti-heroes out there too. Yeah, I can think of about 5 off the top of my head.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's fun because he
Like,
again
I get
connects back to his abusive father,
yeah, like
presumably his father.
I guess you could potentially put Senku in like an anti-hero protagonist because well he is a good guy. There are moments where it's like he's a bit of a sleazeball if you really think about it.
I mean, I agree with that, but I don't think that's the proper definition of anti-hero. Anti-heroes are more just like characters like Deadpool
Oh
or
yeah, I know. I know. I'm just saying, like, it's like you could make an argument for Senku being like kind of like this sort of like grayish area, sort of like bordering on anti-hero, if that makes sense.
I mean, grayish protagonist, I agree, but anti-hero, no. You can maybe make the argument for Light Yagami, depending on how you want to interpret the story of Death Note.
Oh no,
Um,
we'll get to like Alchemy in a minute when we'll because
oh,
because there's that line that coming out that we mentioned in Discord. But yeah, like Alchemy, yeah, I he's just a straight up villain for me.
yeah. I mean, that is how my friend also interpreted the story, but I feel like from the perspective of a protagonist, you could look at it that way.
Yeah, I mean,
But then there's also Aaron Yeager, but I don't think you watch Attack on Titan.
oh no, I've watched Attack on Titan and I've read quite a bit. Yeah, Eren Yeager is kind of I'd say is kind of kind of like started off kind of heroic, then was like an anti-hero, and then by the end of the story he was just straight up villain.
Yeah, I did like that though.
Yeah, and going back to that classic line from The Dark Knight, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's basically what Eren Yeager turned into.
Yeah, I love that line. It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, Maro goes on to say it's not because they're strong either. There's nothing cool about punching people weaker than you. Yeah, I can kind of feel what Saitama feels with that line. That's probably that's probably the line Saitama's thinking about all the time. It's like these guys are weaker than me, so there's nothing cool about it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah. It's because they don't lose. I don't know. Ichigo lost a few fights. Uh, um, Deku lost a few fights. Taiyo's lost a few fights. Now Fumi's lost fights in Rise of the Shield Hero. So yeah, Maru, whatever show the protagonist you've been reading, it's probably from like the 1980s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably. I think he is a bigger fan of classic heroes if you look back at
well,
page 11, because he has like Goku and Fist of
here's
the
the
North
thing.
Star, Jotaro.
here's the thing: didn't Goku lose some fights at some point?
I'm trying to think. Maybe when he was a kid.
Because actually, yeah, because I remember Death Battle bringing it up. Didn't he lose to
I
his?
mean, he did lose against like Master Roshi, and I guess in the martial arts tournament. So
No,
there's
no,
that.
no. Didn't he lose to his brother at some point?
Raditz.
Yeah, because I believe they said in Death Battle like Goku got one shot by Raditz or whatever his name was.
Well, no, the way Goku lost that fight, well, he didn't really lose. He held Raditz down, and Piccolo shot a beam through both of them.
Right. Um.
So, if you want to count as a loss, I don't know.
Uh. Hmm.
You could argue maybe Cell because he wasn't strong enough to take him on, but he kind of ended the fight himself. So I don't know. There's
Oh, right.
that.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving onward. Yeah, then I think the bigger thing is they just get back up after falling, and then that line we were talking about. No manga ever ends with the protagonist losing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
I. Oh, that's on the net. Where's that line?
page
Where's that?
12.
Page 12. Oh yeah,
Are we on
no
page
manga
12?
ends with the protagonist losing Eren Yeager, Light Yagami. What's another one? What's another one?
Yeah, I was trying to think about some of those before the stream, but yeah, a lot of them do have them winning at the end. But
Yeah. Uh,
there's probably others that we're not thinking of. If you guys can think of any, just let
yeah,
us
if
know.
you guys can think of anything, because those are the two that I can think of the top of my head. Eren Yeager and Light Yagami. And yeah, going back to just quickly going back to Light Yagami, yeah, he when he said like if his family ever found out that he was Kira, I would have to kill them. Yeah, that at that point he lost all sympathy for me.
I mean, I guess for me, I saw it more like kind of like with Xena, who I know who's like the villain Dr. Stone, where he's committed enough to a goal that he's willing to do what needs to be done, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
but
uh,
when you're putting your family in that situation and saying that yeah, I'd kill my family if it meant that if it meant achieving my goal, yeah, at that point, no. You do not deserve to win when you'd say that line.
well, I guess I've I'm
unless you
okay with the
unless,
character.
unless your family is completely abusive. That's the only explanation. But if it's like say like Yagami's family, then no. If it's just like a loving family, then no. No.
I'm fine with it if a character wants to like go down that route. It's more of a corrupted hero kind of route,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I don't mind that because it's more interesting.
actually, I guess as well, another one that I can think of is Promise Neverland. I guess technically you could say that Emma did lose in the end.
I was thinking about that, but then I was like, technically, by the very, very end, she almost got back what she
Yeah,
lost. So
but the tragic thing about that is that she won't remember Isabella from what happened. Like she won't
I
remember
guess so.
Isabella sacrificing herself to protect them. And
But it feels
basically,
like Emma mostly got what she wanted. So I don't
yeah,
know if I wanted to count that one.
I guess she kind of half and half because the Emma that they knew at that point was dead. Like the Emma that they grew up with was dead, so that Emma technically lost in my book.
Okay, I can see that interpretation.
Yeah,
But yeah, we should probably move on.
yeah. So yeah, Maro wants to be like them. He doesn't want to lose, and for him, a real battle doesn't start until a strong bad guy shows up and beats the crap out of me. So yeah, he's basically like, okay, yeah, give this all to me because yeah, this makes me more and more a shonen protagonist.
Yep. And for a second, I was watching Eagle's stream from Project Manga. He was like, wait, how come this punch worked? But then when you flip to the next page, you're like, oh, that was a hallucination.
Yeah. Also, Sky said, make me remember Neverland's terrible ending. Yeah, here's the thing about Promised Neverland's ending, and I still stand by that. It's not the worst ending in the world, but it could have been better. And the way I would have done it, the way I would have changed it is that from Emma's perspective, she couldn't see or hear it, she couldn't see any of her friends. Like from they could see her, but from her perspective, from her vision, she couldn't see them. It was just voices. So that's the way I would have done it differently.
I mean, yeah, but discussing Promised Neverland's ending's a whole topic in
Yeah,
and of itself.
that's a whole other topic. I mean, I'm still content with it as not being the worst ending in the world, but yeah, it could have been better. That's my
Yeah,
stance on
that
it.
would be Platinum Man. Platinum Man had like the worst ending ever.
Oh my word! Oh my word! What? Oh my word! The authors of Death Note, you had such a good story in Pokemon. What happened to you?
I don't even know, man. I feel like something must. SkyZ said it's not the worst ending, but it was pretty bad. I'm not sure if you were talking about Platinum Man or Promised Neverland there,
I think he was
but
talking about Promise Neverland.
probably. Yeah,
But
I will agree. It's still issues, and from what the story was in the beginning. But yeah, I think I became more and more okay with it the more I talked about it.
yeah,
But it still isn't super satisfying.
yeah. Which side note, Pokemon best story from the authors of Death Note. It's better than Death Note. I'm that's my controversial stance on that topic. Just saying, since we brought it up quickly.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, Maru's giving like this really motivational speech about it, but at the same time, he's basically just talking to his. I was like, "Oh, I'm on the floor," and then Dopo standing over his body is like, "Huh, don't scare me like that. When you got up, I was sure you would actually swing at me." So it's basically more like it was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna fall down. I've lost a lot of blood."
Yep. That was hilarious.
And then we have Dopo trying to get the knife, but Ten has already grabbed it, and he's like, and Dopo's really getting pissy with him at this point, going like, "Hand this over!" And Ten's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry about this, but Big Sid's taught me to see things through to the end, and watch your big bro actually doing that. Well, it made me want to try it only once, so you can have this over my dead body."
Yep. So there's the title drop right there.
Yeah, title drop there. And then this is when Big Sis is saying, "Oh, draw the knife," and Dope's like, "Oh, don't you dare!" And we get the knife drawn. This very much reminded me of the final arc of Bleach, where Urahara had that piece of paper with Yoruichi, and he went, "As soon as I peel this off, you'll transform." And yeah, it reminded me so much of that scene. Except,
Yeah.
except the Big Sis actually wanted it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the transformation happening, and we have Big Sis saying, "You really are such a stupid kid, but it's the boss's job to step in and settle the score." And Doppel's put. I can just imagine what Doppel's thinking of right here, like, "Oh my word! This is something I kind of expected, but I'm glad I've confirmed it now." As we get Big Sis turning into what looks like a wolf wolf uh, creature with 6 eyes, and it's like, what is this?
Probably some Japanese yokai or something that we don't know about, but yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, this was something, like I said, this was like, I don't think anybody saw this coming.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I would like anybody who saw the last chapter to be like, "Oh yeah, she's going to turn into a wolf or something." Like,
Yep.
but
It
yeah.
was so unexpected.
So my question is, we need a backstory on that knife. Like, what is it? How does it make this? How does it make this transformation? Why did Dopo want it in the first place? What can it actually do? Is she just gonna like tear Dopo to shred at this point, and let them and help them to escape, to come up with a plan to actually take him down properly? Because at this point, they really can't do anything against him.
Yep. That's why they're retreating right now. Which, I mean, I guess next chapter is just going to be them escaping. So it'll be probably a straightforward chapter.
Yeah. Uh, also, Sky said my man, Bakuman supremacy. Yep, I couldn't agree more. So yeah, uh, hmm, I I want to know, like, what do you think her power actually is, like in this
You
form?
mean Urars?
Yeah, yeah, Ura's like what her power actually is. Like, do you think it will be having something to do with like flowers, like cherry blossoms, because of the tattoo that she's got on?
I mean, we also talked about how her coat has fire on it last time,
Yeah.
so maybe it's another fire thing.
Mm. Oh! I've just thought about something.
What do you got?
What if wherever wherever she hit, like she breathes air, and whatever that air touches, like the inside of the bodies like become like blazing hot. So like say she blew like air in Dopal's like chest area, he could get heartburn, like actual heartburn.
Hmm. I could, sure, why not? If it, but at the same time, I really don't want more fire powers. Fire Force has already done like everything that anything can
Yeah,
do, so
yeah.
I'm
And
hoping it's something
that's
else.
ending soon. Like that's probably
Oh
only got
yeah,
like
that just had chapter 300, I think, recently just came out, and yeah, it's like only like five more chapters or something like that. I think that's been confirmed.
right, okay. All right. So yeah, it'll I hate to do it, but we need to pull. Oh yeah, yeah. She says we need to pull back for now. So yeah, probably going to be
Yep,
retreating,
next chapter's just them running.
and then Maru's probably going to be like, "What are you?" And then we're probably going to get a lengthy explanation about what Big Sis actually is.
Yep. Which I mean, I feel like we'll get that probably the chapter after next. I think next chapter just running, but then we'll get some lore drops
Yeah,
uh
which
to
I'm
the
really
family.
yeah, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm really excited about finding out what the lore of her family actually is.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
So that was Ayashimon. Pretty good chapter.
pretty good chapter.
I
So
think it really did a lot for Moru's character. A little growth development for Ten,
yeah,
and I guess a unexpected transformation.
yeah, which everybody loves. Everybody loves an unexpected transformation.
Sure. So what do you want to do next? I was thinking maybe Black Clover, but I
Yeah,
don't know if we want to wait for or some to come in.
I think he's probably in bed at because he usually goes to like sleep at like around this time because he's 2 hours ahead of me and it's 10 o'clock here, so it's probably midnight
Ah,
for him. Yeah,
all right, fair enough.
yeah. So I guess we'll do Black Clover since we brought it up.
Yes, two. So we have Black Clover 320.
Yeah, 320.
The cause of all this,
Because of
which
all,
is not what you would think
I know.
that it's referring to.
So yeah,
Um, so we were right that Asta was not going to behead him with the sword strike, which is not
yeah.
surprising.
But he
And you were
could have.
right that he got really mad at him after hitting
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So basically, Asta misses the decapitation strike, but he manages to cut off a bit of one of Lucifero's horns, which gets him really pissed off. Like, I love that in like series. It's like the one thing, the one like tiny, probably insufficient detail is the one thing that gets the villains really pissy.
Yep. Honestly, it's kind of hilarious more than it is threatening.
Yeah,
Like the way he gets mad. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be that way, but it is coming off that way.
it is, and especially when it looks like he's doing a temper tantrum and using Asta's body as like a trampoline at this point because you see him going trash magical Scott, and you see Asta's just hand there as he's going into the ground like
Yeah, Asta's got to be tough to not die from all that.
oh yeah, yeah. So then we have the captains coming back in again to protect Asta. But as we said in the last chapter, they aren't exactly going to be doing anything in this fight, and it's basically another curve stomp of the captains this whole chapter.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh man.
uh,
A lot of this chapter was just the captains just like praising Asta.
yeah,
That was a lot of what this
yeah,
chapter was about.
praising Asta, trying to attack Lucifero and basically failing miserably. And Lucifer will say like, "Oh, get out of my way." So we have oh, so the first one that tries to strike him is um uh oh, who's the first one that actually gets taken down on
Uh,
page 4 and 5?
I mean, it's kind of hard because like you see, I think Marileona like come in for a punch, and then Charlotte comes in for a bit. So,
Mm,
but Marileona also comes back again.
but
So I
what
think Charlotte might have gotten taken down first, technically, because then
possibly,
Jack comes in.
yeah,
So yeah,
possibly,
I guess
but
Charlotte.
my thing I want to talk about is anti-magic attacks work on Lucifero. So it begs the question like, um will Lucifer be able to fight? Will Lucifero it because this is not full Lucifer, so when he actually gets his full form, will the anti magic attacks work on him at that point?
Yeah, I think it will. I think the what the goal will be is to get Asta back up and running to try to get another hit in, like similar to what they did, I think, with the Word Devil, if I remember.
Hmm, possibly. But again, like you said, we've not seen Lucifer using any magic, so that alone is something that we've got to be careful about. And also, he could potentially like steal magic for all we know.
Yeah,
So
it's true. I mean, I think it's still probably gravity.
possibly we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, we have uh so we have some more of the captains being taken down, trying to put up flower barriers against. I love the fact like they thought like the best way to counter demon is just like pretty flowers, and he's just basically like, I spit on pretty flowers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also like the fact that Jack he was like the most of them were praising Asta, but Jack's just like, hey, I can't let only him be the one to cut this thing.
Yeah,
It's gonna
let
make
me
me look bad.
let me cut this thing, and Lucifer was like, yeah, I'm not gonna let that happen again. So you could just get a spike thrown through spike shard glass. Like what is actually being thrown at Jack in that panel where Lucifer says vanish?
I honestly just thought he threw Jack.
Because it because I'm just trying to look here. It looks like there's spikes coming out of Jack, or unless that's part of his power.
No, those are his knives.
Oh no, so his knives. All right, yeah. But oh my god,
Because if
how?
you look at page 6, he's jumping.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was kind of hard to tell in that panel. Yeah, it was just kind of hard to tell a bit in that panel, just because it's like so much like pointy things, if that makes sense, on screen.
Sorry, am I cutting off at all? Because
Can you hear me?
okay, yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
Your audio was coming in a little weird, so I was wondering if my stream was about to crash.
No. Can you still hear me? Quick, can you still hear me
Yeah, you're
now?
coming in perfectly clear now. Okay, yeah. For
Okay.
a second, you were coming in weird, so I was confused.
All
Okay.
right.
Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just there's a lot of spiky things on that page that made it a bit confusing.
yeah, that's fair. I did really like Nozelle's line though, that
Oh yeah,
he Asta
definitely.
basically proved to them, like proved to everybody that even a weak, quote unquote weaker person can fight against someone who's much farther above them.
Rather
Because
above
that's
them.
basically what Asta's been doing.
Yeah, and then yeah, and despite that really motivational line, Lucifer just basically bitch slaps him away.
Yeah, which is also pretty funny. I
Yeah,
am glad we don't have like all the captains getting like immensely stronger or something because of Asta. It's just like they're more motivated to fight, and this is how this should go. Like this
yeah,
is realistically how this fight should go. Like you were saying, the captain's all getting bodied.
Yeah, because there's no way Lucifero, like someone who's basically been built up as like the biggest threat in the whole series at this point. There's no way the characters are going to take him down. And again, it's scary to think that this is not even 100% Lucifero. So it makes me wonder how many characters are actually going to make it out of this series alive at this point.
I mean, that is a very good question. I feel like right now I don't see anyone dying just yet, but down the line we'll see. Because like no one's dead so far, I think.
No, no. But then moving on, we have the Fugelian. How do you pronounce their last name again?
Yeah, no, I think you said right, Fugelian.
Fugelian. We are they're siblings, right? Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yep,
okay.
brother and
Just
sister.
brother and sister. So we have the Fugelian sisters basically creating a fire dragon to try and take down Lucifero, and they're like and I love the fact that Tabata basically trolls like thinking like, oh my god, we got them, but then he just basically like smacks his way through the smoke.
Mhm.
Yeah, and,
It's pretty funny.
yeah, and
Even
the
like, and I'm glad he finally went after Rill because Rill's castle is like the thing that's actually keeping them going.
yeah. And of course, yeah. So so he goes after Real's castle, basically takes that down, and then everyone is probably bonded at this point. And this devil here is just really irritating me. It's like, do something, man! Stop being a narrator for everything.
I do wonder what the point of him being is. I still don't get that.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I can say is like he's part of Lucifero. Just because of the horns on his head, like they're very similar to Lucifero's.
I didn't think about that, so maybe.
Yeah, like this is probably like he's probably Lucifero's like a part of Lucifero's power that's separated from him, and they have to merge together.
Uh,
Oh,
that would be
oh,
interesting
oh! I've just
because
thought about something. I've just thought about something.
okay.
What if the Lucifero that they're fighting at the moment isn't the real Lucifer, and this guy's the real Lucifero?
Huh. Yeah, that would make sense for a shonen story to do that, but then I would wonder why.
Uh,
I would
I
wonder
think
why they were doing it like this right now.
I think it might be a case of Tabata thinking like, oh, you think the big like imposing monster thing is like the real Lucifer? No, it's this one who's just basically chilling out, but yet one like just like really just like small like puff of like just like a and just basically blows you like thousands of feet away.
Hmm.
So like
I mean, I
uh,
wouldn't mind that, but then I would wonder why they set it up like this. I mean, I mean, not Tabata, because that makes sense, but I mean, why the devils is kind of like, why are they doing it this way?
because they're devils and
But,
that's what they do. They like to trick people.
hmm. I mean, it would be kind of funny, because I, I guess, did they say their names yet? I'm trying to
No,
think about that.
no, they haven't said their name yet. So that
I'm gonna
that
go back a few chapters and check
yeah,
on that, actually.
go back a few chapters, but I'm pretty sure they have not said the name yet. So that leads me to believe that this guy is the real Lucifero, and this one is just like like some of his power that's been manifested here to kind of like test out the humans. But he's like, yeah, there's no point to it. I could just chill out right now because I could just let like a fragment of my power deal with them or something like that.
Okay, so like in chapter 317, this little devil, he mentions that Lucifer's manifestation is half finished, and then we see this guy's do the whole all of you bow down, and then the guy says the fool kept me from manifesting completely. So he's definitely part of Lucifer, but
Yeah. I yeah,
hmm.
I like to think like I said, that's just leading me to believe that this guy is the real Lucifero, and that and
But then he
there's
would be referring to himself in the third person on chapter 318, though.
yeah,
I don't know.
which I could actually see like that doing like the King of the Devils, like just referring to himself in the third person, like he's that so high and mighty, like he's like, yeah, I have to hear my name so many times because I know how awesome I am.
Hmm. I don't know. It still doesn't fit exactly, but I could see him being part of Lucifero.
Yeah. Sky said then they'll need to do an Aspel power up to beat them.
Yeah, but
Uh
it's like Black Clover. So,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a
that'll
good job.
probably be what
Yeah.
happens.
Sky said it's a good job that Boyle's not here because if he heard you saying that, oh boy, I would pray for you.
Yeah, but I mean, Black Clover does kind of pull up power like out of nowhere. And it's not the only one that does it, but
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of
yeah,
what happens.
uh, so we get the end of the chapter where we see um, yeah, I am just like I'm gonna go along with that theory, but I'm just gonna call this guy Lucifero for now, just for consistency. So we have Lucifero just basically going to beat down on Aston one more time before we see a light being drawn in front of him, and we see that is the one that's actually doing that, and it's like finally, you owe me one, Asta. So, basically saying like, yeah, it's my turn to be the big brother, to be the big brother to you, Asta, because now I'm the one with the power, and you're basically just a sitting duck at this point.
Yeah, someone in Eagle Stream mentioned that like maybe because has star magic is how he can resist Lucifero's like um presence and gravity magic because stars and gravity and all that.
that
I'm not gonna
that
get to the physics of it, but like that's like my right now my head canon for how Yuno's still standing.
Yeah, that well, he's in a barrier as well. Like if you actually look at the top of pages 14 and 15, you can see there's like a barrier around him.
Yeah, so I mean, either the barrier is from. I mean, yeah, but who's generating that barrier? Is it
It's
'Cause I don't
him
think it's
because
Mimosa.
because you can see where it says you finally you can see the two grimoires out. There's two
Yeah, you
grimoires
can.
out. So it's probably both of them that are generating this at this point.
Hmm. It could be some kind of mana zone. But
Yeah,
either way, yeah, Mimosa, I guess, is going to heal up Asta. So I think what's going to happen is Yuno's going to buy some time for Asta to get healed up so they can
yeah.
work together.
But now that Yuno's here, that gets me worried because remember what I said last week. Bell might actually end up getting taken
Oh,
out in
killed.
this
Yeah, I
fight.
did
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah. Because if there's one character that I think would die and I don't see anybody being like generally upset about, I think Bell would be the one.
I think that's a fair point. And yes, guys, that is a good point. Was beaten in the last battle, but I guess I was more talking about how like before Rill set up his castle thingy, I forgot what it's called. But before Rill set up that, nobody could even stand up because of Lucifero's gravity magic, and they were all like literally face planted to the ground. So the fact that isn't either means he's using some kind of mana zone, his star magic is helping him, or I don't know, something else.
Yeah, possibly. And what are they going to say if, according to your theory, this other devil is the real Lucifero? There's no way anybody can touch him without having an Aspel power up. Well, here's the thing. Sky said. For Boyle is the ultimate Black Clover fanboy, so they will defend Black Clover to the day they die. Like you're not gonna win against them, so you're just gonna have to go along with it.
Okay, so I think that's Black Clover. Basically, the fight's still gonna keep going. Now stepping up front.
How long do you think this fight is gonna go on for? Because
I could actually see it for a couple more chapters because
yeah,
this is Lucifero we're talking about.
because this fight has been going on for like how many chapters now?
Like I said, I went back and looked. 317 is when he manifested, so about 3, 4 chapters.
3, 4 chapters. Oh, okay. I thought it was longer. It feels like longer,
No, we
despite the
just had
fact.
a whole like break during the holidays, so it feels
Oh yeah,
longer. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, Black Clover, short but very sweet chapter.
Yep. So that's Black Clover. What do you want to do next? Are we doing
Uh,
Blue Box this week?
no, I don't. I think we could just like not do Blue Box from now on. I
Okay,
mean,
that's fair.
I'm still enjoying it, but again, there's not really much to say about it.
Yeah, there really isn't. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Okay.
So I guess we can move on to talking about My Hero Academia.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's a pretty simple one to go over.
Yeah. So let me get it up quickly. So yeah, My Hero Academia: The Story of How We All Became Heroes, Part -1.
Yeah. Okay.
So so
Horikoshi was being very clever there.
yeah. So what
-1.
is Horikoshi doing the Kubo route because of turn back the pendulum? That was like minus. That was like chapter
Oh.
-107.
Oh man.
Yeah,
But yeah, basically this is just like us focusing on the villains this time around,
yeah.
which yeah makes sense to have a chapter like this.
And
Like
I
the early
saw.
chapter. Oh, so
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the chapter starts out with like Toga like going back to her old house and with a bunch of graffiti written everywhere.
Yeah. And yeah, so like a bunch of like really like if it was anyone other than Toga, probably like just psychologically damaging words that are being said here. So like vampire demons there, your scum, uh you'll pay for all of this. I get the feeling that if Toga just actually had someone in her life that just accepted her for who she was, she probably wouldn't have turned out this way.
Yeah, I get the same feeling, which you know is always a nice part of My Hero. They do a good job getting us to like really care about these villains.
Yeah. And yeah, somebody said on Twitter like, if we're not in, if anyone had any doubts that we're in the end game, well, this chapter pretty much proved it because it does feel like we are like slowly creaking more and more towards that end game.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Even Horikoshi said for it. Okay.
Yeah. Um. So so we have Toga remembering that what people were saying, that no one will ever accept you the way you are. You can't just live as you please all the time. Nobody can. Um, like her face is too square. Like, see, if people didn't actually say if people didn't actually say that word about her face, then it probably wouldn't have damaged her as much as she as much as it has. And I really feel like Hero Society like kind of like needs to like reform after this, because of the fact that if you really think about it, they're kind of responsible for most of these villains.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's one of the brilliance of the story is showing how Hero Society creates its own villains. It's like a very self-feeding cycle, which is a I think, the most interesting aspect of the My Hero Academia story. And I wish it kind of focused more on that than the
Yeah,
school.
I really wish as well. But again, you can't really do that when you have the series titled My Hero Academia.
Yeah, and I get it. It sells for that reason.
Yeah,
Japan loves high school stories.
yeah.
Just it is what it is.
It's a shame. It's a shame that some Westerners can't appreciate that, and just like, where's the fights? Where's the fights? We want fights.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think you can really blame us for not caring about Japanese high school life.
I
Because, like, for
get.
Japan, that would be like, oh, cool, I did this when I was in whatever grade. But for us, it's like, oh, cool, it's a thing that people do in anime. Like, that's what it is for us. It's the thing
I
people do in
guess. So yeah, we have Toga reminiscing about her past, uh, and people saying like, "Want to be a little birdie, cheep cheep, tweet tweet. Want to be Kay, those dimples when she smiles so lovely every night. I dream of dancing, of a dancing red sparrow." It does. I feel like this is kind of like a song that's going through her head, because it sounds more like it should be sung rather than said.
Yeah, I feel like this is supposed to mean something, but I really wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, I I guess it's sort of like reminiscing of when she first attacked that bird in the flashback with the My Villain Academia, if that makes sense.
I don't know. But either way, this was just like Toga like, just sleeping in her own house, I guess, one time before the war. And so it was kind of just a nice sentimental
Yeah,
little
uh,
thing.
yeah, it was. And then we have Darby. I guess we should start calling since they start calling him by his real name, Toya. So we have Toya just hanging out there, saying, "But even you can get caught up in emotions. Never knew you actually had a heart knock job." And she blushes at that. It's like kind of like just brushes it off. But yeah, when we get to the part of it, you can tell like yeah, she's like yeah, he's right. I do actually have a heart, even though it's a heart. It's a very twisted heart at this point.
Yep.
As she says, she's just curious about her old house. That's all. And and Toya's saying like, "Sure, you're ready for what's coming," and she's like, "Oh, what might that be? I mean, us putting an end to this rotten world. Little late to ask that now." Um, and Darby, God, that's it's gonna be hard because like they say in this chapter his real name, so like it's gonna get hard to like go from calling Darby to calling Toya, but I guess we've just got to get used to it now because it's the cat's out of the bag. Um,
Yeah.
so we have Toya say whether we're crying or smiling. I do actually like this line because it's kind of like it's kind of like a reversal of like what happens a lot in like a lot of like dark manga. It's like we can all we the sun won't come out until we're all smiling and we're all free. But he said, but it's kind of reversal here of like yeah, it doesn't matter whether we're crying or smiling. The sun is gonna come out anyway.
Yep. A lot of good dialogue here, honestly. I think the
uh,
villain chapters are always very strong.
Yeah. So we have Toya saying, "Let's smile, Toga," as we see him burning down a house. And we have her saying, "Smiling is why we live our lives," and saying, you'll get us caught, Toya, but that was awfully kind of you." So, like, what do you think she actually meant by that line? Like, do you think it was
I
like,
think so. I took this scene, reminded me a lot of Full Metal Alchemist, when the brothers burnt down their house to say, there's no going back, we're going to move forward from this. And in this case, I think she interpreted that in a similar fashion. And also because like all that graffiti was written on her house by people who were basically just spitting a bunch of like hateful words at her. So she thought, oh, this is Toya trying to be nice in his own way, trying to
okay,
like be like, this
try,
isn't your home anymore. You don't
yeah,
have to worry about this.
okay, I get what you're saying. So, like, trying to like say like you can let go of those demons because in a weird way that in a weird way they could kind of see themselves as family because of what happened in their past.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
And
the
yeah, it's pretty nice.
in their own twisted way.
Yeah, which again for me, I enjoy like unique, twisted versions of stuff because it's better than like the cliche sweet version of stuff
Yeah,
because that's not as interesting from a
yeah,
fiction standpoint.
yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. So we have Toya saying, and it's not kind of so much as twisting the knife in endeavor some more. So like all coming back to the father.
Yeah.
Uh, as we have him saying, um, when you transform, if the person's someone close to your heart, you'll be able to use their quirk by drinking their blood. Oh, oh, oh no! I've just realised the implications of that line.
What do you mean?
Like, because it if the put like the fact that she'll be able to clone herself.
Oh wait, you didn't realize that? Yeah, I mean the next thing
Yeah,
is
yeah.
about Twice's blood.
I just realized I didn't. I can't. When I was reading the chapter, I kind of didn't pick up the connection at that point. I was just like, now I see it. Like, oh no, that is gonna be so bad for everyone. If just
I
like
mean, yeah, that's the big takeaway from this chapter. The Twice's ability that they were so scared of is going to come back into play.
do you think? Do you think that she'll she'll also be able to become like if she has like say she has twice ability to clone herself, like do you think she'll be able to clone because she's because Darby like Toya Darby is someone close to her? Do you think like she'll be able to like clone herself but also like clone him as well?
Yeah, he can. Remember in My Villain Academia, Twice was able to create replicas of his comrades.
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. Like, oh my god, oh that is going to be such nightmare fuel for Endeavor if there's like 20 Toyas surrounding him.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have Toya giving Toga twice his blood, and saying we'll help that sad parade to keep marching, and the ones having their last laugh that'll be us. Before we cut over to the villain's lair, where we see Spinner say, being concerned for Shigaraki at this point, and all for one is there saying like he's recovering well as he conquers the quirk doomsday theory, and they're like, oh, is he still Shigaraki? Before we see what was this villain's name again?
Spinner?
No, the one saying Spinner.
Uh, wait, hang on. Oh, 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 wow, I'm blanking on it, but I know I've seen his name.
I'll
I remember it was the computer guy.
let me just look it up quickly because
Okay,
uh
yeah, you can do that. In the meantime, basically, this is just kind of going on to this whole thing about like the heteromorphs, how they've been discriminated against, and how they kind of look up to Spinner. I will say they point into a little bit of this in society with like old hate groups that they've run into that talked about the heteromorphs, but for the most part, I feel like the quote unquote hatred for heteromorphs wasn't very well illustrated in this story. Like if they really wanted that to be such a big thing, which I guess based on this chapter they did. I think my hero could have done a better job about like showing more instances of heteromorphs because like we have so many characters like Mina and Ojiro, I believe his name is, like a lot of characters with like very weird shaped bodies. And I remember when I was first reading My Hero Academia, I was thinking it's like, okay, some of these people don't even look human, but they're just treated like people. So I don't think the story really did a good job showing off the discrimination as well as it could have, especially if
yeah
it wanted to be such a big part of the final fight.
yeah okay, so Skeptic, that's the guy's name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah. So yeah, you've talked about the homomorphs being quote unquote discriminated against, even though we've not seen it, and uh, we have them saying no matter how an average dude like me feels about it, we're past the point of no return here. The first solid step from you will give them the necessary courage um, to bring uh, to bring it all down. No more thinking it over. Um, I'm only here for your sake, Shigaraki, which is what Spin is saying. As we see the villains sort of like rising up and sort of like ready to make their move, and them say, "No, this in Juchi, everyone can be somebody's hero," and that's the line I really resonate with as well because you get this whole like sometimes black and white hero. This guy's the hero. This guy's the villain. Whereas if you looked at it from the other perspective, like ev- somebody's like villain is going to be another person's hero in a way. It's kind of like with Endeavor, how people can see Endeavor as like, oh, this Endeavor's just like this villain, but then you have people in the story. It's like, no, Endeavor's my hero.
Yep, and I also, it's kind of a nice point that in many ways these villains, as we see them in the story, are probably like a good reach out for some of these other characters. That's kind of what they're tying in. And I think that's very true in many ways. Like even for us, like the readers, we can see a lot of like bad things that society has done for them. So almost watching them stand up for themselves is kind of
Yeah,
heroic in our eyes. So it's
yeah.
like a nice tie-in. I do love the writing in this chapter.
Oh yeah, I definitely like it as well. And my question is now, what where are we going to go from here? Like, what's the next big? Do you think they're actually going to go to UA at this point?
See, that's what I was wondering. I'm hoping we don't get a the day we all became heroes chapter -2 or something because I don't want too many of these. I really want to get started with the fight. So I'm assuming we have a plan from the heroes of how they want to split everybody up, and we have the villain set up. So I'm hoping that next chapter we just kind of like have the plan in its early phase, setting up like Ioma coming in, like the villains are talking, and then Ioma shows up and
But
then he
do you?
starts saying something or other, and then the heroes are like, okay, the operation begins now, or something.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But how poetic would it be? Like the final battle of the series takes place at UA.
Oh, I mean, it could. Apparently, UA has a lot of weird defensive systems, and they did like hint at it being able to turn into a giant robot or something like that. So
Yeah,
it could.
because if the if the villains really were to like, okay, what's the best way to go about this to like crush the heroes? Go to the school where they're training heroes.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense with the series called My Hero Academia for it to be like the final battleground.
Yeah. Uh, but also as well, we've also got the Shinetsu High people coming in as well. Like, and also we still need to find out what Shinzo's whole role is going to be in this final battle, because we saw him at the end of the last chapter, and
Yeah,
it, yeah, and we still have no idea what he's doing.
we do not. So I do hope we get into that soon too.
Yeah,
And I also want to see Monoma at some point because we know he's around.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was My Hero Academia. I don't think I have any else more to say on it, unless you had something else to say.
No, other than I just hope that we move forward. And I think I do agree with people that this would be a good time for Spinner to really gain some relevance. So if we do spend some time on Spinner's character, then I would be okay with another villain, just focus chapter. But otherwise, I want to move on.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair enough. So yeah. Let's see. I guess now we could, because we've already got four more series to talk about. So I get, and they're like the four major ones. So I guess we should talk about Ayakasha Triangle, because we got we finally
We have 2 chapters, I guess.
we're finally out of that whole madness. We're
Oh
fine.
man.
That was a weird couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, for those who weren't aware, Ayakashi was like not being officially translated for like 2 weeks, both in America and I guess in certain Spanish speaking countries. And oh yeah, I guess well, Luke's from England, so I guess English speaking countries as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So, but for some reason, I was expecting this chapter to also just not be here. But then I saw the app, and I was like, oh, okay, it's here.
Okay. So it got past. So like Shonen Jump were like, it would have been, but that's the thing. It would have been weird if chapter 76 was skipped over, because there's literally nothing quote unquote controversial in that chapter.
Yeah, there's really nothing to even censor here. So this would have, if they didn't have this one, I'd be like, okay, you guys just don't want this series anymore.
Yeah, yeah. But thankfully, we're out of that point. As long, okay, I think at this point, as long as Rochika isn't involved in isn't involved in the main action in that way, I think will be cool.
Yeah, I mean, either her or Lulu. Because honestly, she was barely in the next chapter.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, um, oh my god, that makes me worried if Lulu and Yayo do get powers. Like, what? Oh my god, what are they gonna be? That that has me worried.
yep, still looking forward to that. I am glad though, as we started this chapter, that Lulu is now like really good friends with Matsuri. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just quickly go through chapter 75 before getting into chapter 76. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
they
right. Good
they
point.
yeah, they had the audacity to put on the unofficial Shonen Jump Twitter, like, look at this color page from Ayakasha Triangle to celebrate the anime coming out. Yeah, too bad we're not gonna translate the chapter for you.
Wait, when did they do that? Like last week?
Last week when they released the color page for chapter 75.
Oh, they still okay. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, they
Oh,
they
I
put they
didn't
put
realize.
yeah, they put that on the unofficial Shonen Jump Twitter page.
Oh, the unofficial. Okay, I thought you said the official, but then I'm like, that would be mean. But
No,
okay, the
no,
unofficial. That's fair. They share everything though, so that sounds good.
yeah. So yeah, um, so yeah, we have basically chapter 75 basically continuing on with Lulu's investigation into Matsuri. Oh my word, like the fan translation, they knew what this chapter was all about. It's like, what will happen to Lucy with all these that word which I probably shouldn't say on YouTube scenarios awaiting her.
Yep. Sorry, I'm still pulling up the last week's chapter.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, we have so we start off with Matsuri calling Susu, saying like, yeah, Lucy's gonna stay at the house. She suddenly decides to do that by saying, I'd really like to stay the night at such a traditional Japanese house. And she turned it into such a big deal that she had her butler bring her stuff over. And I can just imagine what the grandfather is thinking about in that flashback. Like, what kind of friends does my granddaughter grandson have?
Yeah, that is true.
Like, I honestly want to, now I'm curious, like, what does Lucy's house actually look like?
Didn't we go to her house before? I thought.
I don't think we
Didn't we
did.
go for a sleepover or something? I thought
We
we did.
Oh, we might have done. I honestly can't remember if we did, but we might have done at some point. But still, I would like to know more about her house. If even if we did go for like one or two chapters, I'd still like to know more about her house.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure we did go to her house, and that's why we knew that she was kind of well off. But anyway, continuing onward. So at first I was like, I was wondering why Matsuri was like, I want to inform you about this. I'm like, why does Suzu need to know about this? It's not like anything's like super weird about like having a sleepover with a friend. But then she immediately is like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's fine. And it's like, Shirogane, we have to get there
yeah.
immediately.
I
And then
get. I
I'm like,
guess.
but why?
I guess she's probably. I guess Matsui's thinking like, yeah, no, yeah. There might something might go on, and I'm still a boy technically, and I am in love. I'm in love with Suzu, so she's at this point being like the overprotective partner.
I guess so. She's
Yeah,
like, I thought she'd be okay with it because if it was Shadow Man, that'd be one thing. But if it's like Lucy, then it's just like, I mean, that's your friend then.
yeah,
But
but
to be
still,
fair, she had a good reason to be worried, so
yeah.
it works out.
And I've just got to say, I love this panel where they're like, don't want to go, and then Susu's like, I'll give you 20, I'll give you 20 extra Susu dongos, and it's like, oh, bribing me again, and then we see Susu transform into Omikagi form, basically mini Susu, and just riding Shirogane like a horse, like, giddy up, horsey.
He's very much tamed at this point,
And
which is
I
hilarious.
could just imagine Shirogane basically thinking what Gen thought about in Doctor Stone. It's like, is this really worth 20 dongles at this point? Like, Gen was thinking like, this is not worth a cola.
Oh man. And then we get Rochka and Lucy like hanging out,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
Lucy's convinced it was a weird illusion,
yeah,
magic.
and we get that, and we get a flashback to that bit, which we're not going to mention.
Yeah, because I guess it made Viz go, "Oh, we're not doing this chapter either."
Yeah. Um. So yeah, again, I just love the fact that Lucy is still not convinced that yeah, this is all spiritual. It has to be aliens.
Yep, it's still funny.
Yeah, it's like what more proof do you need, Lucy? Yeah,
I mean, probably. I think she'll stick with this for a while now. But
I
I think
think
eventually she has to get her own powers or
yeah,
something, and then she'll come through.
you know what she's gonna think when she gets her own powers. She's gonna think like these are magical alien powers.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that could happen. That
Yeah.
would be fun.
So then, so then we have Matsuri saying, "Oh, dinner will be done in a while," and Lucy saying, "Come to think of it, Matsuri said this a while ago. I became a girl due to an Ayakasha jutsu, but I was actually a boy. Ayakasha, is that code for something? Yeah, it's not code for something, Lucy. Just use your noggin. Get out of the alien form."
Oh man,
And just like her just reasoning just like makes me infuriating but makes me laugh as well. Is there a new galactic law in place that forbids aliens to reveal their identities to the original residents of this planet, and it didn't exist yet during middle? Yep, that makes sense.
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm just like that's just hilarious but infuriating at the same time. Like an
You
old
know, it's
man who
funny. I really didn't understand why Lucy was like so highly voted in the original polls, but right now she's getting up there for me as a
yeah,
character.
she's getting up
Sorry.
there for me. Like the aliens, like an old man who is the perfect image of a Japan of a Japanese, but whose name is Deed. That makes no sense. He's an alien too.
Hmm.
Oh my word! I really hope that we get like we really get Seven Seas if Fizz doesn't want to like publish this in English, we get Seven Seas so that I can actually see what the proper official translation is.
We're we're never gonna get it. I feel
Yeah. Uh,
it's like
oh,
this isn't even releasing the manga volumes anymore, right?
yeah, they're not.
So yeah, that sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So then we have Lucy enjoying the dinner, and um, her saying that Rochka put ice in a Minishiri. So I'm guessing that's like. Have you ever had mi, miso shuri before, or is
I
it
had
like
miso soup, but I feel like this is something else. I'm not sure.
yeah, well? I'm guessing it's meant to be eaten hot, which is why Lucy's questioning like Rochka putting ice in it. So I guess that's
Yeah,
why she's getting a bit confused by it. And then we have once again thinking, come to think of it, there was a time Matsuri went into the boys' toilet a lot by mistake, despite changing her appearance. She didn't yet understand gender differences back then. She's trying to overcome the I love this line from Lucy. She's trying to overcome the differences in our culture. I have to help her as a member of this spaceship called Earth. Like
apparently Earth is a spaceship
she's
too.
so dedicated to the aliens. Like she's probably like one of those conspiracy people that think everybody in politics or of a higher class is a lizard alien. Like
Could be.
it wouldn't surprise me if she thinks the Japanese prime minister is an alien lizard person. Which which reminds me, if she was born in this country in the 90s, there's one program that I know she would be all over. It's
Which is
it was a series called My Parents Are Aliens, which was basically about these aliens who came to Earth and were adopted parents to children, and their house was the spaceship. It was a comedy
Um,
series. It was a comedy series. Really, it was really enjoyable when I watched it. So that would probably be something right up Lucy's alley. Which kind of did a big middle finger at the end of series 7, because that was when like it felt like the series was coming to an end, because it was like wrapping up storylines and everything, and the original cast departed, but the aliens stayed on, and they were like, "Oh, season 8 comes around, we're just going to wipe their memories." So basically, the last 7 seasons didn't happen, which is why
uh,
everybody dismisses season 8. It never happened.
that, uh, that does suck. But anyway,
Yeah.
moving onward, then we get, I think, the probably the actual scene that caused this chapter to um, not get translated, even though
This
I still feel like it's coming now.
this actually boggles my mind if this is the case, because we've seen scenes like this before.
Yeah, but it's the only explanation I can come up with.
Yeah. So I guess Lucy's off limits then.
Mm, I guess so.
Yeah.
But then I don't think that'll stop the mangaka. So if this ever happens again, we probably just won't get
Yeah, we're probably
official
just gonna have
chapters
to
sometimes.
yeah, we're probably just gonna have to get used to it if this happens again. So we have Matsuri in the bathroom. We have Lucy coming in, and it's like, "Oh, hey, I'll wash your back for you." And they're like, "No, no way, I can't have Lucy doing that to me." And she's like, "Oh, come on, we're friends, right?" So she's washing Matsui's back, just to prove that there's no zipper on the back. Oh my god! Oh my god! Lucy, just like give it up. You're not gonna find anything. She's not an alien. She
Yeah,
he
but then
yeah.
what I
Oh
was gonna say is then as she was doing that, Matsu's like, if Suzu were to see this situation, and then it's like exact timing,
yeah,
Suzu shows up.
yeah. And then Matsui's like, no, it's not like it's nothing like it seems. There's nothing going on here, Suzu. But Lucy's like, don't move around. I want you to show it to me. You're
Yep.
everything. Yeah. No. What is she saying? Even between girls, isn't she being too close? Like, Matsuri, you've had Suzu close to you before. This shouldn't be weird anymore.
It really shouldn't, but
Yeah,
it's probably weird just because Suzu's there.
yeah,
Because then Suzu is just like how she's like, look at the situation, and just like how shameless. And then Shirgan is like, it's irritating to hear that from you, and
yeah.
that's a fair
That is,
point.
that is a good point, because Suzu, you have no right to say how shameless, when a few chapters ago you were like fawning over Matsuri to like kiss
Yep,
you. Yeah,
yep. And then
yeah.
he just asked for 50 more Donkos.
Goes and I'll do it. So yeah, we have Shirogane temporarily transforming into Matsuri. Um, and he says transformation jutsu. You can envelop someone else into it as well. It's not like I wanted to be attached to you like this. I'm doing it for the dongles and to stop the shameless antics. Which I feel like this might come back at some point, like this ability of Shirigane's.
Yeah, I feel like it should, because I'm just doing it for this one gag doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Um, so then we have him saying, "Now tell her again how you're actually a guy. Even Lou will have to realize how bad the situation is if you do." But of course, Lou being Lou is not phased by this at all, and she's just like, "So it's true, but Suishin really is Shiramatsu Shiranatsu-sama," and they're like, "Huh?" Like, like the just like the confused, like dumbfounded expression.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
You
then she goes on to be like, oh, thanks for responding my feelings for the truth. And then it's like, I understand this is a secret kept by galactic law. Lou knows all about it. And then there's everyone so confused.
Like, what is going on with like? I just want there to be a chapter where just they sit down with Lucy and be like, okay, why do you believe in aliens so much? Like this is not just like a conspiracy theory. Like Lu- oh my god, I've just thought about something crazy.
What's that?
What if Lucy's an alien herself?
I mean, knowing this series, it's probably going to go some direction like that.
Like,
That, or she's going to think she's an alien, but it's like really a connection to Ayakashi.
yeah, no, oh, oh, no, I would love it if she turns out to be an alien herself, who thinks that who doesn't realize that she's an alien and is like thinking the Ayakash is an alien when really she's the alien herself. That would be something so hilariously stupid, but would work as well for Lucy's character.
Yeah, I guess it would.
Yeah, oh, and her house is a spaceship. That would just be so perfect.
I think your whole house is a spaceship thing is just coming from the show you watched.
Yeah, it probably is, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point now that I thought about that theory that Lucy's an alien herself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way, should we move on to the next chapter?
Yeah, just quickly wrapping it up by Lucy saying, "Someday I hope you'll teach me about the relationship between UFOs and the Hollow Earth city." So that line is actually gonna make me think, like, is that gonna come back at some point? Is that gonna be like an arc itself?
I mean, I think we talked about that before. If there was like an arc where a lot of Lucy's like weird conspiracies did come true,
Yeah,
that would be like a fun arc, especially for her awakening ability or whatever.
possibly. And then we get next time May's poisonous fangs approach once more. Matsui's in big trouble. Not really, as we'll soon see. Well, yes and no, but yeah, we should move on to talking about finally the chapter that actually got translated.
Yep.
As we start off this
Chapter
chapter
76.
with Suzu in a Tanuki suit, in a Tanuki like hoodie.
Yep. Wearing nothing underneath.
Of course, because it's Ayakasha Triangle.
Yep. I'm just saying, like, that's fine. But everything before it was apparently not fine.
Yeah, apparently not fine. So yeah, we start this chapter pretty much from the next day over, where we have Lucy basically being, I guess, I guess the personal bodyguard now of Matsuri.
I suppose so. Like I said, it's nice to see them being friends now. And also, someone named Larry Grutzelstein said hi to you.
Uh, oh, hello, gents. Luke been chilling in the hive. Who is Luke been chilling in the hive? Like,
I don't know. I thought you would know what that meant because I
I
do
have
not.
no idea. Like, Larry.
Well, thanks for joining the stream, man.
Like,
I'm not sure what chilling in the hive means.
thanks for that. But could you give me context? Because there's only one hive I know about. So if this is who I think it is, like, what is your actual name? If this is who I think it is, like,
And you think his name's not actually Larry?
yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Like, it's so yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah, I had a feeling that's what it's. So the hive is the big library in the city where I went to university at. So this guy is,
Ah,
yeah, Worcester, yeah, which Tekken 101 at one point got pronounced wrong. But yeah, Larry, is that your actual name, or is it someone that I know from Worcester? That's it's a different name, because I'd love to know who it is. So, like, yeah. So,
okay.
could you send your actual name if it's who I think it is? Yeah.
Getting back to the chapter.
Yeah. Going back to the chapter yourself ourselves. So we have, yeah,
I
Lulu
did like
being.
it on page 3. It says, Why is Lou acting like Matsu's minion? And Susie said, a lot happened yesterday. And when I read that, it's like, okay, normally that wouldn't mean much. But in this chapter, it's like, this is how the translator's like, yeah, a lot happened.
And
Don't worry about it.
don't worry about it because you're never gonna see it unless you go and pirate it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then we have Shadowway saying, "I don't get it, but I'm happy when anything stirs up between you two." And Susan's like, "Yeah, sorry about that, but our bond won't be broken so easily." And we get Shadowway saying, "Yeah, we'll see about that, but it is true those two are something else." As we get this raccoon, Ayakashi. I guess it's a raccoon.
Yeah, it's a Tanuki. We've seen
Tanuki.
this character before, actually.
Oh
Like
yeah,
way.
yeah, we have.
And apparently, Larry's real name is Lewis Harrington.
Lewis Harrington, Cat Bestie. When are they going to release the dub for this manga? Uh, Lewis Cat Bestie. I'm sorry. Do I remember? Do I know you like from somewhere?
I mean, it seems to know like enough personal details, you would think so.
Like
But
when? What?
anyway, Larry or Lewis, however you prefer to be called. Yeah, we did talk a little earlier in the segment about the official translations. It's probably never going to come out just because they didn't release it here, and Viz, I think, still controls the volume
Yeah,
releases if
yeah,
they're still releasing chapters.
yeah. Luke Perchek. Yeah, that's my full name. Yeah, but I'm just like, do I remember you from somewhere? Like, you've got to give me more context because look,
Look,
look behind.
what? That
What
sounds
are you?
ominous. What's behind you?
I'm coming. I am okay. If you think I'm in Worcester, I'm not in Worcester. So you're not gonna find me in Worcester.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I'm
I
blonde.
have blood. Okay, this is getting weird, Larry. What are you going on about?
Well, okay, this guy knows you, I guess. Just keep an eye behind you, Luke. I don't know.
Well, he's never. He's. I'm not in Worcester, so it's not gonna affect me. But yeah.
Okay. I
So
was
we
like expecting when he said look behind you, like it's like a roommate or something, and that would have been hilarious.
yeah. Uh,
But I guess that's not the
it's
case.
probably someone I do know that I've probably forgotten, and until I get more context it'll probably come back to me. Like that's probably what it is. um
Okay. But anyway, Shadow May goes up to our Tanuki
well, no,
because
she doesn't go up to it. She doesn't go up to it. She kind of just floats out of the window down to the ground.
okay, for sure. That is technically what happens. Yeah, the Tanuki's just here to, I guess, give reports, which I'm glad they brought this element up because, like, Susie's supposed to be like in charge of the Ayakashi, so I'm like, I feel like she should be doing stuff for that, but I guess this is how she's doing things for them, kind of
Yeah,
having like someone report back to her.
yeah. So yeah. So going back to uh, yeah, so going back to what Shadowmay's saying, like the Tanuki saying, "Who are you?" And she's like, "Shadowmay, I'm also an Ayakashi. Look at you, brings back memories. You know, I've met Ta Tanumion before." And the Tanuki's like, "Oh, that's the name of my great great grandfather, Tanu." And uh, I just love this from like Shadowmay's perspective of like you saw of like just how big this like Tanuki is compared to her.
Yep, it is a nice drawing, but it also is like kind of cool to see like some of her connection to the old Ayakashi as well.
Yeah. Uh, oh,
Although I do think the phrase "steamy
sorry,
manipulation" is.
sorry. 1 second. I'll be. If you could keep talking, I'll be right back quickly.
Oh yeah, sure. So what we have here then is Shadow May kind of talking to Tanu about his ancestors and tries to get him to do something called steamy manipulation. And when you hear that kind of phrase in a story like this, I had a very different idea of what that was going to be about. But that's not. We'll see what comes out of there in a second, because our character is coming down to meet up with Tanu, And then
Oh,
uh, Matsuri sees Tanu hanging out with Shadow Man, and he's like, I got a bad feeling about this. And then apparently steamy manipulation, which Matsuri does not bother defending against at all, might I say, just causes like complete memory loss to him, or well, them. I don't know, depending on what pronouns you want to use. I'm just gonna say him because that's how I've been referring to Matsuri. So the funny thing with this ability is number one, why didn't Matsuri defend? He has literal wind powers. I feel like that would work. And two, I don't understand exactly why uh, such a basic ability would be able to do this much damage to like an exorcist ninja. Feels like they should not be able to do that. It's just like way too strong of a power. Then we get Matsuri being really obsessed with Shirogane. Shirogane just starts running around because he's just like, this is creepy because you're Matsuri. You're not supposed to be this cuddly
yeah, I'm
with me.
back
But
now.
Matsuri has.
Yeah,
Oh, you good?
yeah. It was someone was messaging me on Facebook, and I think I know who it was. It's probably someone related to uh, connected to Larry at this point. So they're asking me to send a link to the stream on Facebook, so I'm going to send it to them, and they'll probably be on in a bit. Yeah. So okay, got
Yeah,
that all.
cool.
Uh, okay, Larry. Okay, can we not have words like that on this stream, please?
Well, to be fair, he did self censor himself fairly
Yeah.
well.
Uh, so
Yeah, so you want to keep going or.
yeah. Yeah. So where were you up to?
Yep, I'm on right now page 11 where Matsuri is just chasing down Shirogane.
All right.
And
Yeah.
then,
What I love about this is that the I get the feeling that if this chapter ever got like animated, it'll be like if we actually got to this point, it'll probably be what uh what Matsuri's voice would actually be like in this state, like, oh, Matsuri, is that me? Like just like the
yeah,
really
I
good,
mean, I agree
good
with that because I'm also reading his voice differently now.
yeah. So yeah, we have Matsuri basically being going after Shirogane, and Shirogane saying like, "No, you're creeping me out," and Susu wondering what's going on here, and the Tanuki saying like, "Oh, befuddling the human mind, it's a basic skill for an Ayakasha Tanuki. At Shadows may request I boost steam on Matsuri to make him ever forget everything and think he's a girl." Oh, this is probably gonna like come back to bite Chalamet in the arse quite badly in a few chapters if Matsui does get his memory back in like the next few chapters, or if this is just going to be a case of like this might actually be something that might actually manifest at certain points in the series moving forward.
Yep, it could be. I do wonder if it'll just be Matsuri remembers anything from this, or like it'll just be a one-off gag, or if it'll just be some kind of like power set they'll keep around just to be like, okay, we're gonna erase characters' memories. This
Yeah,
will be a good way to do that.
yeah. um so yeah, we have Matsuri looking around for Shirogane as we get like the creepy teacher like say, don't run in the hallway, Katsuragi. And oh my god, it just feels so weird to see Matsuri like that, like just
It
scared.
really does, but also kind of adorable.
Yeah, and then we get the teacher doing Louis Armstrong, Alexander Louis Armstrong mode, which
Yep, by
it does
complete
feel
accident.
like complete accident, and he's and calling him like, oh my, that again, it just feels weird for Matsuri to say that word.
It does. Man, this was a really fun chapter just for that alone.
Yeah,
And then they have to, of course, bring back Nino, I forgot his full
Nino,
name.
yeah, Nino and Poe, um,
Yep.
and Poe's like, so beans are the true supreme treasure that get that God's gave us. I don't know, sliced bread, I would say, are better than beans.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a Japan thing. They don't think they eat sliced bread as much as we do over
Yeah,
here in the West.
yeah.
And yeah, I think Nino Kuru. Just
Oh
look it
yeah,
up.
Nino Kuro. That was it. And we have Matsui bumping into Poe, and it's like, no, my beans. And then we have Nino saying, "What's wrong, Katsumagi? It's not like you to be so flustered." But in her mind, she's picturing him as just like this handsome gentleman.
Yep, this was when I saw this scene, I'm like, I know exactly where this is going. Oh,
Yeah,
this is fun. I did enjoy this like little interaction here,
yeah,
especially how it follows up with Suzu being like, "Okay, I know what Shadow May is gonna do, and I'm not gonna fall for it. Our
yeah.
bond is solid as a rock." And then immediately, as soon as she sees this scene, she's like, "Oh no, our bond is broken."
Yes, yes, definitely. But the one thing I want to talk about is below the "I feel so safe with him" on pages 16 and 17, where we have Matsui's mother talking to the teacher and saying like, please believe me, Miss Ibuki. I am not a pervert or anything. And it's like, just put a shirt on. Yeah,
Like really,
like that was basically one of the outtakes in the dub of Fullmetal Alchemist, where it had the guy voicing Greed saying to Armstrong, "Will you please put on an effing shirt?"
yeah,
that
which
just
makes sense.
that just reminded me so much of that series. But yeah, my question is, how long is this actually going to go on for? Like this whole memory erasing thing.
I'm thinking maybe one more chapter. If it's like two more, that might be kind of pushing it a little. So that's because you. This is fun, but there's only so far you can push this gag before it gets annoying.
Yeah, yeah, I, yeah, I can agree on that. But yeah, it was really fun. Two really fun chapters that we managed to cover. So now I guess we'll just have to wait and see where this is actually going to go.
Yep. And let's see, we have
Witch
Witchwatch and
Watch,
Dr. Stone left.
Mission Yosuko family.
Oh, right, and Mission is Curve. Okay. Because I know
So
it's getting a little late for you because we just talked about two chapters in a row by
oh,
now.
it doesn't matter because I'm not working tomorrow, so it doesn't matter for me. I can keep
Oh, okay,
going.
great.
Yeah.
Let's
So
keep going then.
I
What do
guess
you want to do next?
we'll do Witch Watch next.
Sure.
So yeah, Witch Watch does Minecraft.
Yep, that's the chapter.
Yeah. Uh, so of course there's more to this chapter than just Minecraft, but yeah, that's
I mean, it's mostly Manga.
basically the main meat. I've never played Minecraft, so
I
uh,
played it for like a few minutes, but then I got bored.
yeah,
So I think
but
there's a lot
even
of probably references here we don't know, but
yeah, but even then it was still a good chapter, even if we didn't get all
yep.
the references.
Yeah, and yes, Sky Z, I don't know if you're caught up with Witch Watch, but yep, this is the Minecraft chapter.
Yeah.
All you
But
need to know.
yeah. Basically, in this chapter, the boys become Minecraft characters. Yeah. So
And the
we
way it
have
happens is they eat sugar cubes. I think my favorite part about the sugar cube bit is that they were like, I didn't buy these sugar cubes. Who bought them? And I'm just like, okay, that should have been your first sign to
yeah,
not take in the sugar cubes.
yeah, that
These guys are like
Nico.
the worst bodyguards everywhere. I
I
actually thought
know,
they were about to be poisoned, like before I read this.
I know. Yeah. So Nico bought them, and they mentioned that she's practicing magic in a room. Yeah, so you wouldn't have felt that would have been the first time for that to slip up, for that to get to them. Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
And
it
also,
does.
they did confirm this chapter that they're still on summer break. So
Yeah,
we are still in summer.
yeah. So we are still in the summer break arc. So uh, we have Keigo see seeing that Cone's arms suddenly became boxy, and then everyone is starting to become boxy, and Mori's like saying something's wrong. Something's wrong. Drinking that tea is making our bodies turn boxy for some reason, uh, and they're saying like, "Don't look at me! I didn't do anything to that tea." Then there must be the mysterious sugar cubes. Like, there's nothing mysterious about them. You know that Nico bought them, so you know that she probably did something to them. And then she comes out practicing to see that they've all been turned into Minecraft characters. As the
Yep.
title of the chapter is "Boxy Body Boys."
Man, it must be nice being in Japan, not worrying about copyright
Yeah,
issues. Because this is like the kind of thing in America where they'd have to be like, oh, this is block based or video game or something stupid like
yeah.
that.
Oh, hi,
Because man,
hi, Amber. Arbor. Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah. Oh, has anyone played Minecraft that's in the chat? I would like to know.
yeah, because there's their references here. We do not know most of them.
Yeah,
In fact, the funny thing about like most of this chapter is just kind of them explaining the logic of their circumstances. It's like, okay, how would this work exactly?
yeah. Uh, all right. I've got to ask because I think I figured it out. Larry, are you James? Are you James from Worcester? If that's you, please confirm it.
Wait, if his name was something like James, why would he
It's
call himself
it's
Lewis
prob
Harrington?
it's probably he was probably just trolling me because if it is James, that's usually what he was like. So he was probably just trolling me. But if it is James, then I hope I've solved the mystery of who it is.
And yes, apparently Ann Arbor played Minecraft. So, okay, Ann Arbor, if you notice any references that we didn't, feel free to point them out
Yeah.
as we go along. Um,
So
anyway, so then Nico's just having a great time because her friends are now cute people.
yeah.
I like
So
how this whole chapter, it's like Nico just finding the whole situation hilarious
and
and everyone
the
else being legitimately concerned.
yes. So like I can just imagine her like going like I was practicing a spell that turned things to square. I managed it. They're also turned into cubes, and then they're like, just why are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? Like, and she's just like, ha 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 ha, ha, so cute. I just love that. Like, just after all the laughing, she's like, so cute. Yeah,
Yep. Nico's just having the best time right now.
yeah, she is.
And then Moy is just like he just quickly adopted things like I'm just gonna cook us lunch. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, because it's and everyone's like, how can you adapt to this to this so dang fast? And it turns out that Nico can't just dispel the spell; like they have to wait for 5 hours. Like, of course, there's always a time limit on Nico's spells. It's
And
all
like most Witch Watch chapters, this means that these cubes, sugar cubes, will be saved up and then used later. At least I hope so, because
yeah,
this could be hilarious.
like it's always like for some reason the spells that they need to get out of a desperate situation that only happens for what for a fraction of a moment, but like the spells that literally have no effect or anything are just there for wacky hijinks. Oh, it takes 5 hours for them to wear off. It's like, can't we get a spell that's like, yeah, we're invisible for 7 hours, we should be safe.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, so it turns out that all every part of their body is turned to block. So it's basically like the devil fruits in One Piece, like Luffy's devil fruit turned into rubber. So like every part of his body is rubber now. So it's basically that similar effect. And it turns out whenever they eat something that turns into that turns into blocks as well. So kind of makes it easy for them to eat at least at this point. Uh,
Yep. That's
but
yes, that's true. And also, Moy, like I think I want to bring up that he adapted really quickly because his personality is like he's a total square, so it fits his personality.
yeah,
And I'm like,
also
okay, sure.
yeah, also Ann Arbor, except for the eating sound to become crunch, I can't see any reference. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we're not missing out on anything really. Um, So yeah, we have the boys like just trying to sit around and sit around and everything, and they're like, man, I can't believe I'm actually getting used to this insanity. Like, you should have been used to it from day one.
Yeah, it's very true. In fact, I think they kind of bring it up. Like Moy brings up, it's like I've gotten used to Nico's mishaps, and he's like
Yeah,
he said, it's a good thing they were in the house.
yeah, yeah,
Except that
but
they realize that they can't actually just hang out in the house because apparently in Japan, we learned in this chapter, it's very important that if you make reservations to go see the movies, that you go see the movies.
yeah, you have to go and see. You have to go and see them. Like, you can't just cancel on that. Well, I guess it's because like they can't really cancel it because it's less than 24 hours. Because even in this country, you have to give like 24 hours notice to cancel stuff.
Well, but this is going to see the movies.
Even with
This
the
isn't
movie,
like we
yeah,
haven't.
yeah, but
What,
even with the movies, that's a thing. Like, you have to give like at least 24 hours notice.
what is to who and why?
I have no idea, but that's a thing. So I guess
I
it's
don't understand other countries. If you don't want to go see a movie, you just like, okay, I'm just gonna not see a movie. What do you have to
I
get
mean, you could.
called to be like, I'm sorry, teacher, I can't go see the movies, which I was gonna do in my free time. I chose to do something else,
I
like
mean,
take a
I
nap.
get. I mean, I guess they could. I mean, I guess they could. I guess they could not go, but then they wouldn't get their money back.
Uh, Whatever.
Yeah. So Nico's like, five friends off to see a movie together. Isn't this fun? Yeah, it would be more fun if Nemu was with you. I
Oh,
am gonna keep I am gonna keep bringing up Nemu until she's in that house with everyone. Like and they're all like, seriously, this is just bad. Just think about it. Just think about it. And this is literally a real life Minecraft multiplayer. I'm jealous of Nico's screen resolution.
yep, that was pretty funny,
Yeah.
honestly.
And then it turns out that even the slightest gust of wind now that they're in these bodies, will blow them over because there's a lot of surface areas to catch the wind. Before Nico comes up with a really ingenious idea, a cardboard box from a grocery store, and they're all like, "We're luggage now." So what? Because we're boxing now. You want us to pack? You want us to pack us up in boxes? Please don't. It feels like you see us as objects. So yeah, technically you are objects at this point.
Yep, Nico definitely sees them as options.
Even though
I
she
did
said
like
no.
how he would just like shrinking them and packaging them, even though they were like, Nico, we have feelings about this. Then Nico's like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care anything. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's the problem in Japan. You can't just do something spontaneous. The cinema could reject their reservations the next time if they wouldn't cancel their reservations. Yeah, and I guess that, and I think that's the same thing over here. Like, um, you if you like don't go for your reservations, it can like affect how the cinema sees you at that point. It's like, oh, this person has cancelled on us. Yeah, we're going to keep aware of them next time they try to reserve something.
Okay, well, thanks for the clarification,
Yeah.
Harbor. I still feel like that's kind of silly, but to be fair, I
I,
don't usually prepay for most movies, and here we have like apps for these things, so I don't know,
yeah.
but whatever. It seems
So
kind of weird to me,
yeah.
but
So we
if
have
it works for Japan, it works.
yeah. So we have Nico just trying to pack them and everything, and them saying, "Can't you perhaps make us a little smaller and give us at least a little breathing space, considering the amount of magic needed? This is as small as I can make it." So like, oh my, this is the best they got out of a worse situation. And uh, and then we have saying like, uh, "Oh wow, it feels so good when everything fits exactly." And yeah, they're kind of like getting annoyed by this now, by her just basically turning them into milk cartons, essentially, which is what she says.
You, it is pretty funny, but also it's kind of scary when you like really think about the dialogue because they're like being packaged into boxes.
Yeah, this cut. Oh, this reminds me so much of a South Park episode where
Yeah, actually, this does feel like a South Park episode.
it was the Amazon episode where the guy got literally packed as an Amazon package.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's basically what we got here.
Yeah, except that was a lot more gruesome because if you tried to open him, he would die.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to go that far in Witch Watch.
No,
And yes,
no,
Ann
no.
Arbor, I agree, Japan has a lot of status stuff. And I guess the movies count as part of this.
Yeah. Um. So that so excuse me. So then we have putting some ice packs in them and them saying obviously don't toss ice packs in here like we're objects, and we're off. And yeah, they basically say what I was thinking. This has to be straight out of Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah, that was a good reference there. But quickly jumping back to page 12, I forgot one line that someone brought up in the comments I wanted to bring up, which is that, not our comments, but in like the manga comments on Manga
Yeah,
Plus, they, the way Nico initially packaged Keigo and Kanashi, they had their faces facing each other. And then they're like, dude, we're practically kissing right now. And so then
yeah,
she twisted her head. But someone said, it's like, wow, I can't believe the first canonical kiss was between two guys. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? That's a fair point.
yeah,
I'm counting this as like the first time in Shonen Jump two boys have kissed.
yeah. Which is like, oh, that really should belong to Senior and Stanley.
Yep, but instead it was Witch Watch. Witch Watch it just went super progressive.
And it was with two milk carton boys, basically.
Yeah. Yep. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
Yeah,
But yeah, back
fair.
to the movies when they get there.
Yeah. So Nico says she has no idea what she's gonna do, but since they're all basically a box at this point, she could just sneak in without them even notice. And yeah, they mentioned that they paid for their tickets online, so it's not like they're sneaking in. Nico can just show them the QR code and get their seats. And once it all starts, they'll revert to normal and enjoy the movie. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. And then
Oh yeah, sorry, Skies, that I did forget about Naruto and Sasuke. So that one's on me. I messed
oh
up.
oh oh yeah, I remember them doing that. Like I remember seeing a clip of them actually doing that.
Yep. So Skies at Ann Arbor, good job calling me out on that because I messed up. Still, it was a funny moment. But the other thing I did find weird about this part of the story was that I don't know how it is again in Japan movie theaters, but in America movie theaters, like when you sneak objects in, we have to be a little careful about it because for some reason they don't like us bringing our food in, so we buy their food, their overpriced food. And so I thought it's like, okay, so how can you be so cautious, easily bring in a box of these guys into a movie theater to begin with?
I guess because they'll probably see them as like, oh, they're just like figurines.
I guess, but it did feel a little weird because sneaking things into movie theaters.
Yeah,
And the other reason I brought up the whole like Japan movies being serious was actually the guy we see on the next page when he's just
Y-
like, "There's four empty seats in front of me. This is disgraceful." And I'm like, dude, why do you care? Why do you care if there's like your view of the movie is less obstructed?
I guess I guess he probably was like thinking like, oh, it's sold out. I'm not gonna have like because he's probably one of those people like me who kind of likes both seats in the movie theater, kind of separate. So like you can pull like the hand hand arms up and then just put your feet up on the other seat. Like I kind of do that sometimes.
Nice.
And he's
But
pro-
I
and he,
mean, he seems upset though that there are empty seats.
yeah, he probably was like, "Oh, I really wish I had empty seats next to me." And then he sees four empty seats in front of him, and he's like, "What the heck is going on here?"
I mean, the way he phrased it though, it said, I bet you some airheads reserved online that went off on a camping trip. And then he says blasphemy against the sanctity of the movie experience. So when he said sanctity of the movie experience, I was like, okay, is this a character like Keigo who's like obsessed with movies? Is this like the director and or one of the producers or somebody of the movie who is upset people didn't come to see his show? Because like I think he's less he's less
Or
jealous of the
it might
NPC
be
than more.
it might be the case of like people. It might be a case of like people have just done that and basically said screw it to the movie and then not shown up.
Yeah, but I don't know why that would bother him so much unless he was connected to the movie or he's a weird movie snob.
I guess he's a
But
weird
if
movie
it's like
snob.
Ann Arbor said, that in Japan, maybe they take this stuff very seriously.
Yeah,
And
the art.
Sky said, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you need to find better cinemas then because the ones in mine can actually. Oh, and Ann Arbor, you need to do that as well because you've not had proper movie experience when you can well, until you actually find one that has the arm that can go up and then you can put your feet up on the other chair.
Yeah, I remember like one time, I think a long time ago when I was like, I found like a movie like near the end of its run and there weren't too many people in theater. It was nice to just be like in a near empty theater and just have a lot of space to myself.
Yeah, yeah,
Good experience. I
yeah.
mean, I haven't gone to the theaters since, the whole world crisis started happening, but
I
if I ever go back, I would like to have that experience again.
why the seats in my cinema are super comfy. They used to be so much fun. No, I'm just saying like where you could just put the arm up and then you could just put your feet up on the other chair. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But
Anyway,
yeah.
going back
Anyway,
to the movie
yeah.
or
Anyway,
the chapter.
I've just got to say as well. By the way, yeah, next time you go to the cinema now, go to a cinema that has recliner chairs. They are great.
Yeah, there. Um,
Yeah,
anyway, so then he sees our our Minecraft friends and like their heads. And to be fair, I would do the exact same thing as him. I would be like, "There's no way anyone's head is shaped like that. This must be a very specific haircut, and the
yeah,
shadows and the lighting are playing tricks on my head." So I think that was actually a pretty clever joke because
yeah.
I would also do this exact same reaction if I had this.
Yeah, I'd probably do the exact same reaction. So, anyway, we cut to after the movie where they're all going home and on Nico's broom, and she's like, "Ah, you're all so lightweight now. All five of us can fit. I don't even want to know what this. We have. Is it Kago saying that or?
No, Kago's like we have Moy, then Kago,
Oh, it's
then
Con. It's Con. It's Con
yeah, it's
saying that.
Khan. That's
I don't
his.
even know
That's
what
what.
to. What I don't even know what this looks like. And then
And then it was a 3 hour movie. And I guess that's the other fun joke. Movies do take a while between like the length and previews and everything. So yeah, by the time they were done with the movie, the spell was gonna wear
yeah,
off.
yeah, and then sure enough, at the worst possible time, when they're in midair, the spell wears off, and they all sort of
And I love
fall.
Mahira's line here. It's like, oh wow, if we hit the ground falling from this height, our guts are gonna splatter. I'm really starting to enjoy it when he does that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: his guts won't splatter because he's immortal.
I mean, his guts might still splatter, but he'll heal up.
Yeah, and to save everyone, Nico turns them into plushies, basically.
Yep. And then this time it is everybody else that's more comfortable with it because their personalities are like that.
Yeah,
And then the
and
comments for this was like, "Oh my god, we can merchandise this." Because
yeah,
I was also thinking that seeing them, I'm like, I want to buy these plushies.
oh, it's a shame. I'm gonna say it again. It's a shame Nemu wasn't in this chapter because a Nemu plushie that would be so adorable.
Yeah, it really would have been. But again, I think we said with the last chapter, at some point, Nemu has to join the house, so she'll be part of these antics too. And
Yeah, yeah.
then maybe we'll get a Nemu plushie.
I like screaming at the characters in the movie. You see, here's the weird thing about British people. It's like when I'll just use an example. When Spider Man came out and a particular scene happened, we were all like really calm and collective. Yet looking at reactions on YouTube to American cinemas, everyone was just like screaming their heads off. So that's something I find weird. It's like, come on, guys, relax. Let other people enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I think that's why I still, even though movie theaters are fun to experience sometimes, especially going with friends, For the most part, I think the best way to watch most things is by yourself in a on like a TV or a computer, because then you can like fully enjoy the thing, watch at your own pace, pause, go back, and everything.
Yeah, but yeah, that was Witch Watch. Just another goofy slice of like antique chapter, and
Which
hoping.
was like nothing any of us predicted, because like at this point, who knows what could happen? We
Yeah,
could run to Warlock. We're still in summer break. I think we'll stay in summer break for a little bit. Because I'm wondering now about your one theory about how you had like a part three summer. What was it, Summer Warlocks or something? I
yeah,
forgot what it was called.
yeah.
If we could still maybe get that to cap off the summer vacation arc, so we might still get something down the line. But yeah, hopefully we'll see Nemo again soon.
Yeah, hopefully. So yeah, that was Witch Watch, and I guess now we can move on to talk about Mission Yosakura Family.
Yep. And the best thing to enjoy movies is drunk with friends on your couch. I don't really drink, so I'll take your word for it. Ann Arbor, Sky said people in my cinema were cheering in a particular scene.
I
It's like, yeah,
know,
I've had those movies too.
yeah, and that's something I just can't stand. I just can't. I just don't understand. Like, people, this is not people. It's not a live show.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. It's part of the experience, like when you get hyped with a bunch of other people at these moments. But at the same time, I think it does also. I also feel bad because I know there are people who are just like trying to enjoy what they're enjoying, and then their immersion's just broken for a second. So I sympathize as well. But yeah, Yozakura.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. Really like this chapter a lot. Like just getting, and I think you did as well. You said so yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying these sibling chapters. I think I wouldn't mind more of them. Although I will say, when I was watching Eagle stream on for Project Manga, he was saying it's like, yeah, these are good, but we've been having a couple of these in a row. So I think for some people they might want to like
Get
see some
get.
more plot.
I
But
get.
honestly, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with more of this
Yeah.
because I think that the early Yozakura, like the first year of Yozakura, was a lot of it trying to figure itself out, and then the second year it did figure itself out and was like going on nonstop. So now, and it's like next in this new year, I think it's trying to third year, it's trying to do more build up
Yeah.
stuff that it needs to do.
Yeah, I guess one thing I want to see as well is more interactions with like Ayaki and the other Yosakura siblings, because she's only really had major interactions with Tayu, Masuri, and and Shinzo.
I think you meant Mutsumi there, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, which I'd like to see like what her dynamic, because given the fact that she's a psychotic needle woman, what her interaction with Kojiro would be.
uh, yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I would like to see more of her and
Yeah,
just the family in general. There's a lot they could do with these, but at the same time, they probably shouldn't linger too much because it's still a shonen series. You need to have
yeah,
plot.
yeah. Sky said, Yo's family's weird. I want another serious arc, and I'm disappointed by these slice of life chapters, but then the slice of life chapters are so good. I always feel satisfied after finishing them. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah,
Hey,
so do I.
hey, it could be worse. It could be Spike's family, where we only get
Yeah,
TV dinner night and that's it. No chapter for 14 days.
I was so confused. I was like, wait, was this the chapter? Or is this like a break? I was very
Yeah,
confused. It was like 5 pages.
yeah,
And that's our review of Spy X
yeah.
Family.
That's our 5 second review of Spike's family. So yeah, the we have Matsuri, not Matsuri. We have Tayo, Futaba, and Koricho basically getting ice cream, which this part, like, okay, Futaba I get, Tayo I get, Kojiro with ice cream. That's just like the weirdest like last thing I would ever expect to see him with.
I mean, he's still a person. Like,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't,
still a
unless you're like
person.
lactose intolerant, who's gonna hate
No,
ice
no,
cream?
no, he's still a person, but like just his personality is the last thing I think of. Sweets is the last thing I think of when I think of him.
Well, I also think that this chapter and the last one are doing more to expand his character beyond just like his weird, creepy Masumi stalker stuff, which I
Yeah,
think is nice, especially for
I think it's
people
nice.
who really like his character, like Sacred
Yeah,
Hero.
I think yeah. Oh, by the way, Sacred Hero. What I saw of him about Witch Watch on Twitter, it's like, dude, no, don't say that.
I don't know what he said, but I know he
He
doesn't like
said
Witch Watch.
he said Witch Watch was utter garbage, basically, and
Oh yeah,
whoever,
I mean, yeah, he doesn't really like Witch Watch or Ayakashi, but I,
yeah. But yeah, moving on to talk about Michio Sakura. So we have um Kojo saying that mint chocolate is discoordinated and improper. Okay, that's the one thing I can agree with him on. I don't like mint chocolate ice cream.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, and then we have Futaba going like, "How childish should not be able to enjoy the joint harmony of sweetness and refreshment. You got a sharp tongue for someone who got so excited that they all." Oh wait, this is not Futaba saying this. This I think this
Yeah,
is
Chiro
Tayu.
saying it.
Oh yeah, you got a sharp tongue for someone who got so excited that they ordered 7 scoops, which I'm counting here like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's I'm guessing the one at the top is 2 scoops that I'd sort of like melting over
Yeah, I
each
think
other.
she ate one of the scoops
Yeah,
at the
because I
very
was like
top.
confused looking at that. Like, wait, there's 6 scoops there.
And yep, guys, that mint is fairly solid. I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Lamo, let him hate what he hates. He hates Chainsaw Man and Spy X Family too. Well, he probably only hates Spy X Family because it's more popular than Mission Yotsukura. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um. So I love this because this is exactly what I love most about this chapter is that despite the fact that it's established that Futaba and Koricho don't really get along, they act more like how brothers and sisters do actually act.
that is true. And I did like that aspect because a lot of the family interactions have been like fairly wholesome and stuff, but in reality, siblings argue a lot over
Yeah,
like nothing.
yeah. I could have vouched for that, especially with my sister, where we just argued over the most like insufficient, trivial things, and then we're like, "Wait, why were we arguing in the first place?"
Yep, that's just how it is.
Yeah. So we have Tayu basically calling the grandmother and saying like, "Yeah, we got to the mall now and on our way over to hand over the letter," and him just being like for once, Kojiro just basically being like, "You know what? I'm gonna give Tayu a break for my wires for once." And just let him order me around.
Yeah, I did find that a little funny too. It's like he's more accepting of Taiyo recently.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't think. Well, here's the thing. I think he was more excited of Taya when he uh, in like the Tampopo arc, but I think more after he's gotten like his silver slices is like, okay, yeah, Tayo I respect now in his own weird Kojiro way.
Yeah. So what I do find a little strange with this chapter is that we learn that well, the whole thing is to let her exchange something and do a little shopping at the mall. But apparently, because these grandmothers are exchanging this letter have been in the underworld for decades, this we need 2 gold level spies to deliver a letter.
Yes.
And when they said that, I was actually expecting this chapter to have some combat in it because I thought people would try to intercept the letter, even if in case it had any important information. But we didn't have any of that. So I'm like, why did we need 2 gold level spies for this?
I guess it's just a thing that they have in place just in case that does happen.
I guess so.
Like, because
It
even then when things don't when even then when things like nothing happens, like you still need I think it's more like a case of like say it was like I don't know, like a royal invitation to like say Buckingham Palace in London, like and somebody be like, okay, we have to keep this under wraps. We have to have this letter get to the right person as much as possible, and not let any interference come of it. I think that's kind of the same thing because it's like vital, fireable, urgent. Do not let this information get out.
Yeah, I guess so. Even though it's probably nothing in that letter.
Yeah,
This is like the first slice of life chapter I think we've had in a bit that didn't really connect back to the main plot in any real
yeah.
way.
Which I like. I like that we're kind of like, okay, we're getting like just a slice of life chance where they can just be themselves without having to worry about the plot. But yeah, I feel like after this chapter we need to get back more into the plot.
Yeah. I just said I think the previous ones did a better job of connecting in some way to the plot, that this one just felt a bit more
But
random. But I don't mind it because it works.
actually this might actually connect to the plot in case because it might actually be uh, we might actually find out what the contents of the letter is at some point.
Could be. That could be the case.
Yeah. So
And
then
so yeah, then Mutsumi like basically sends them off, telling Taiyo, it's like, okay, listen, these guys are gonna fight at like a moment's notice. I'll let you in Kircho's defense, like Futaba like debating over like a hair bow color is kind of really dumb.
yeah, yeah, I never really got that. It's like just like they're both fine. Like he basically says, yeah, they're both fine. Just hurry up and choose.
Yep, really. And then and they were about to start fighting. I do like how they're just about to start fighting.
Yeah,
This is
over a
just like the most epic thing
oh,
over.
over a ribbon, over a color of a ribbon.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then we get another flashback when they went out shopping and like Matsui basically explained like they ended up fighting as if it was a simple game of rock paper scissors. Whenever those two go, te- everything tends to be destroyed, uh, uh, and and Musubi at this point is like, all right, fine, just go fast. I like the green ribbon with that coat, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. We're gonna go along with that. And Musubi saying like, yeah, they'll get easily distracted. So guide them with a firm hand. And Tayo's like, yeah, now I'm worried.
Yep, I would also be worried
So
because
then,
Ty is like only a silver rank, so he can't quite stand up to them yet.
yeah. So then we have Fusuba getting a point card points card stamped, and and this just absolutely resonates with me with the whole points card when he says, Fusuba, if you use an A points app, you wouldn't need to carry so much. Yeah, but Kojiro, have you ever tried to scan a points card with a scanner on a phone? It's not that easy.
I'll take your word for it because I did
Speak
not have an experience like that.
Speaking from experience about the amount of times that people have had their points card where I work on their phone and it's never worked, and we've had to like just type in the number. I'm just like, can't you just carry the card around? So I'm on Fusaba's side at this point.
Eh, I mean, for me, it's just more convenient to have stuff on your phone. But I think the only points cards I do have are I do have the physical card, but whatever.
Yeah. Um. So then, because they're squabbling, Tayo's like, no, let's just get the rest of the shopping done and quickly deliver that letter, and then they and going through various shops that including a gun one, they're like, oh, let's test out the new model. No, we're at the classic, and then Tayo's like, oh, we'll just take both already. And then we have them saying like, oh, uh, stack the dishes, it will make it easier for the staff to clean them. And Courageous like, no, it's easy for the staff if you just leave them as is. And then Ty's like, oh, I was clean it already. And and all coming down to talking about bags before Ty says, yeah, we've got our own bags, thanks, so you don't need to worry about that. And then they end up delivering the letter, and they're like, okay, great, we could go home now before they actually notice a Yuki-chan souffle store, and Tyler's like, yeah, I've got a bad feeling about this, and they're like, oh, let's get everybody at home of a different flavor. I'm sure they're like that. Before before we have them saying like, I'll have the cultural black tea flavor. Fruitaba, I'm sure you would want the matcha green tea. Before Frutaba's like, no, wrong. The correct answer is anarchy. Anarcho red bean paste. And Courage is like, wait a minute, 10 years ago you told me you liked green tea. Uh, and again, just arguing over tea, and Tyler's really not paying attention at this point. And he's like, "Yeah, can I have one chocolate, one chocolate, one, please?" And I can only imagine what he's
Yeah, I'm with
thinking like right
Mario on
now.
that. Chocolate's always a good answer for any flavor.
Yeah. And then this is when this is what one of the highlights of the chapter that I get, when we get like the different perspectives of each of them from the siblings, particularly Shinzo, where they both give answers which are technically correct, but they're like, no, which is the better one?
Yep. And I think what I did like about that was that we learned that at least when they were kids, Shinzo and Kyuchiro actually had some hobbies they shared together, which was really cute.
Yeah.
And the
What
reason
one thing?
that Futaba
Sorry.
didn't get to do it with them is because she broke all of
Yeah.
Shinzo's
Yeah.
toys.
Sorry to do this, but I just need to go to the toilet quickly, so I'll be right back.
All right, I'll just keep going on with the chapter
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so we see first Futaba talking about pistachio because she thought Shinzo liked to work on his own, eating some pistachio snacks. But then Kyuchiro corrects her and says it's like, well, actually, he and I built models together, and he was eating green apple, and green apples and pistachio are both really good flavors. So Shinzo has the best taste of the family so far. And then I did kind of find it funny that Futaba just like broke these models, and Shinzo just didn't have the heart to tell her that. And man, I haven't built too many models, but I have seen them, and it is quite upsetting to see these delicate little things broken like that. But then Shion, I think Shion was like my favorite part of this chapter, just because Fuda was like, she liked to skip school and then drink some peach tea. And then Kyoto's like, wait, you let her skip school? She's supposed to go to school. We're responsible for making sure she goes to school. And then Fuda was like, nah, it just depends on which sibling it is. And then she's like, it doesn't matter. She just corrected the record, so it looks like she was in school this whole time. And at first, Kyoto's like, that's my baby sister. It's like, wait, no, that's not the point. She should be in school. This isn't okay. So I did like how that kind of shows that Kyutaro, he was kind of the breadwinner of the family, so he had to like earn money for them. And so Futaba kind of was taking care of their younger siblings while that was happening. So it's a nice like little bit of lore drop we get. And that kind of highlights also their interactions with them, because from what I remember, Shinzo was probably like they were at a closer age to Kyutaro than Shion is with Kyutaro, and so therefore it kind of shows who's closer to who. And of course, Shion and Futaba are both sisters, as we saw in a previous chapter, so they are fairly close and did a lot of stuff together. And then I think the best, then afterwards with the Kangos, this was just kind of felt a little random because Kitch was like, if you're going to spoil Shion, why didn't you get Kango that cat? It's like, are you kidding me? We can't get him a cat. If a cat died, he wouldn't be able to take it. And, as we learned from a recent Kango chapter, that's probably a fair assessment. He
And
would
I'm
not
back.
be able to handle a cat's death. Hey, Luke.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, it makes sense now, because I was always wondering with that point, like, why doesn't Kago have a cat? But yeah, that makes perfect sense why he doesn't have one.
Yeah, they just gave an answer to that question. And Sky Zed, I just saw your comment. It's really cool. It shows how much they care about the younger siblings. Yeah, I agree. That's one of
Yeah,
the nice things of
definitely.
Yozakura. You see how much they care about each other,
Yeah, and
which makes
then
you care about them.
yeah, and then we have them continuing talking about the siblings by Koichiro saying like, "Oh, he needs to learn from experience. You're so overprotective," and yeah, that's Rich coming from Mutsumi Stalker, and then Tyler's just continually getting the just like the teas for everyone, and then 5 minutes later, they're actually chilling out, Futaba and Creature, and actually talking about their siblings in like a nice, loving, fun way.
Yep. And it's kind of then they have their own like sweet little moment where like why don't we get along with each other except when talking about our siblings? And he's like, I'm glad you're the eldest daughter. And honestly, I didn't understand this line when I first read it, but I think looking back, it's he was probably glad that she was around to take care of their
Yeah,
younger siblings because
I
while he was out doing spy work for the family.
yeah, that's what I took away from. That's what I took away from it. Like, I'm glad he's probably saying like, I'm glad it's you and not me, because if it was him, God, Lord knows Lord knows what that would be. He would probably be like so fixated on Mutsumi that he would probably ignore the other siblings, whereas Fruitsburg probably was the one that like just knocked him down a few pegs. Like, look, you've got five other siblings here. Go and spend some time with them.
Yep. And also they kind of messed up the to be continued on this particular
Well,
chapter.
that's what people that happens sometimes. Like, it'll usually appear on the page beforehand, like those things. So that happens sometimes if you notice.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen it too often, but all
Yeah,
right. Anyway, so then they kill off the good mood, unfortunately, and it's fine because it's just a comedic end where they try to get to taste each other's thing, but they didn't want to and stuck to their own. The
yeah,
whole family was trying to stay out of battle range.
yeah. So yeah, really fun,
Except for
nice
I
whole.
think that now got caught up because I think we see his bucket flying off. Oh wait, no, never mind. He's
No, no,
there.
we
He
don't
just
see his
got blown
bucket.
away.
Yeah, he just got blown away. So that just proves how strong Futaba is, except when she's dealing with Nano's needles.
Yep.
Yeah. So really strong chapter for both Koicho and Futaba, and making him more endearing to us as a character when he's not like fawning over Mutsumi.
Yeah, so this we have two Kyotro chapters in a row, so I feel like we might see something with him pretty soon
That
if we
I
go back
feel
into a
like
serious arc.
yeah, I feel like this is this. Oh no! Oh no! I've just thought about something.
I hope it's not what I thought of, so go ahead and tell me. So,
What if this is building up to like Koicho like potentially self-sacrificing himself?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't want that. I just started liking it.
Yeah, but it's like they're making him more like normal, and you know what happens when that happens. Like, something bad is going to happen to that character. He, if not die, then he's probably going to lose. He's probably going to lose. He's probably going to lose both his arms. He might potentially lose both his arms
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I'm
because it
hoping that doesn't happen, but it also
because
occurred to me as well.
yeah, because his ability with the whole why isn't that relies on him having arms.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yep, I don't need that. Just
Yeah,
more feel good families chapter,
yeah.
please.
No, no, we just started liking this character, and then you do that to us.
Okay, let's put it this way. If we get another chapter with Kyuchiro, and okay, so we had one with him and like
No, no,
let's say we
no.
had one with either him and Shinzo or no, he already had Nana. So it's like it has Kengo, Shion, or Shinzo. So like
Like,
one of them, if we have a chapter between them,
no.
then I
Oh,
know that oh man, no, they're setting this up. Don't do it.
oh no. You know what might. You know what might actually happen as well. Like, the next, if the next chapter is a Koichiro and I chapter, if that happens, then then that's just going to cement it into me. Like, yeah, Koichiro is not going to make it out of this series alive,
Ah man.
because in a
Okay,
way,
well let's
it
hope that doesn't happen
in a
then.
way, Koichiro is kind of Tayo's mentor in a weird sort of way.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. That does not help, but yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Sky
As I
said,
said before, from the conversation. Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, since nothing happened, I kind of threw
Yeah,
that whole line of dialogue out of the water because I just thought that was a red herring to begin with, and since nothing happened, I wasn't worried. Now I'm worried.
yeah. And also as well, the one thing that we need to find out from Corinto is like what his blooming actually is, because that's the one we haven't
Oh
actually
God,
seen yet.
you're right. We didn't. Oh man, that can't be how he goes out. Oh, with his
That'll
blooming.
be that'll be so much a Bleach moment. Like, oh yeah, we want to kill Creature off. Crap, we have to show his blooming now.
Yep. Oh boy. Okay.
If that ain't foreshadowing, I don't know what is. Yeah, like the only way I could see Creature going out is like in a battle against Momo. That's the only way I could see him going out.
That would be like the perfect way, but also, oh my God, can you imagine like his dad killing his eldest son? That there's like so many implications with that.
Yeah, uh, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I think that's enough for Yozakura. I'm just gonna get more depressed if we keep
Yeah,
talking about it.
if we think about it, like so. Actually, let's leave that up to people. Do you think Koricho is going to die in this series?
All right, so let's move on to Dr. Stone while people are answering that.
Yeah, like people say Stanley Snyder for Doctor Stone. Like no, Koricho for Mission Score. Like that's like raising a lot of death flags for me. So
That
yeah,
would be a really big one, though, because he's been there from the beginning.
yeah. So yeah, Doctor Stone.
Yep.
Yeah, the big finale. Uh, oh, but what if something happened when he confronted Momo after he betrayed the family, but then made him have a hard time using his blooming, or now he has something preventing him from using it? That could be potential. No, no, that can't be the case because we saw he going to use it. We saw Koichi going to use his blooming, but then something happened which was like, oh, because we had that one panel where it looked like he was going to use his blooming, but then it was like got cut off at some point. I don't think he's going to die, but I think he'll get seriously injured. Okay, I see what you're saying there. And yeah, Ann Arbor, we're talking about Doctor Stone now.
Yep.
Yeah,
So, Dr. Stone. This was like an interesting chapter.
yeah, this
It
was
was your
very
chapter of the week, apparently.
yeah, which I'm kind of like thinking now that the fourth year, not the fourth year, the fifth year anniversary chapter will be like when we actually find out what Y Man is.
And that's what I'm thinking too. So, I mean, I guess that
Yeah.
would mean that the next couple chapters are just them having fun on the moon.
Well, let's see. Let's see. When did Doctor Stone happen? So when is that chapter coming out? So when did Doctor Stone
Well, it should
first?
be in 4-ish weeks because I think we
Uh,
talked about this last time. It
March
was the first.
March 6th. So that'll be
Yeah,
so we got 29th. So that's one.
yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Five.
Okay, sorry, 5 more chapters before then.
Yeah. So like so like Sunday the 6th. Oh, that would be so perfect because that's going to be right on the fifth anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting, but the other thing to keep in mind though is that we're getting a color page next week.
Yeah,
Usually that means something happens. Not always, obviously, but
not always, but I feel no. What I feel like it's going to happen, like they're going to find Wyman's base on the moon, but it's not. But it's going to be like, okay, you found Wyman's base, but there's going to be like lots of trial and error that they have to figure out before they actually get to see what Wyman is.
yeah, I was thinking they might just do some explorations on the moon and stuff and just talk about the moon for a chapter. Maybe something goes wrong to delay them for a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
I have a feeling if you want to do something big for like the fifth anniversary, which falls almost too perfectly, you got to do a
you got
Y-Man
to do.
reveal.
Yeah, you've got to do the Y. If the Y Mammoth field is not in that chapter, then in Agaki you've
Or
done
it
so.
could be the chapter before, and then the chapter anniversary chapter could be the Y-Man just doing, villain monologue stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it depends who or what the Y man actually is. If it's an AI, if it's like a human that's attached to an AI computer, like we just don't know yet.
No, we do not. And
Yeah,
yes, guys, go ahead, read the chapter. We'll be here when you're ready.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so starting off with, I love this high five moment that they have between the four of them because
Yeah,
Dr. Stone has like epic five fives, but also because this is another moment where we see Stanley is just like a natural part of the group now, which would be nice again to see if we saw more of the training. But I
yeah,
think the story's doing a good job selling it to me at least.
yeah. I agree. I really wish we had seen some more of that training ourselves. But yeah, we have Gen saying after much ado, dear Ryus, we made it in space after all. Uh, uh, and Nikki, because again, I love the fact that they know Ryus so well that like they know exactly what he's thinking. Like space is now his. That's
Yep.
and that's probably what
I
he's
mean, that
thinking.
is what he said.
Yeah, yeah. So it's nice that they know they know each other so well that they can actually predict what they're all thinking. And and we have Fran basically confirming that he anticipated these events. So it's nice that we actually got confirmation that yeah, Ryusui, even after he lost his seat on the rocket, he was still like preparing himself for this moment.
Yep, which we knew from dialogue, but even Shonen Oji missed that apparently on his first read, so I guess other
Yeah,
people might have also missed it, so it's probably good they brought it back.
yeah.
And hey, Carl Singh, we're talking about Dr. Stone.
Yeah, we're talking about Dr. Stone Cold. Yeah, yeah. So hope you had because he mentioned before I said like, hey, we're going live. He mentioned that he couldn't be here for most of the stream. So it's
Oh,
like
okay. Well, glad
it's
you're here for this.
it's glad I'm glad that you were able to like get do what you do what you do what you had do what you had to do. But yeah, if you're still not caught up with Dr. Stone, sorry, spoilers ahead. But yeah,
Yep. Let's see. And so the thing is, Ryusui did have a panel which Kaseki made for him. So that does tell me is like last chapter we were talking about like, okay, did Ryusui do this on his own? How did he get here? But the fact that he has this panel means that Zeno sent it up for him,
yeah,
meaning this wasn't like a rogue operation. We've
no,
got
no,
that confirmed now.
yeah,
But uh,
and also I was going to say what the other thing that we did get confirmed is that yeah, you basically we basically were right. Yeah, Sai basically helped him with the recalculations and running the numbers.
I guess so. But I mean, the weird thing is the fact that they sent Ryusui up, but they didn't give him like something like that weird oscillator instrument. And it sounded like, based on the reactions from last chapter, that he just came up with that on the spot. So that still seemed kind of reckless from my perspective.
Well, they've yeah, I'm not caught up with Doctor Stone yet. Yep, that is on me and my responsibility to do that. Okay, sorry,
Okay, well, we understand if you can't stick around then.
yeah, sorry, man, because there are huge spoilers coming up about basically where they are right now in the story. So yeah, so we have the spacecraft connected together. I guess it's the final part now, so I guess we're not getting Chroma and Suika going into space at this point.
Yeah,
Which,
they're
which,
not. But I
which,
mean, it is what it is.
which it just to me that just seems weird. That just seems weird that Chrome and Suika, the ones that actually designed this rocket, are not part of the crew that went up there. That just seems weird.
It does, but maybe they'll still get to do something on Earth. Because, like I
Yeah,
said, if we really are going with this prediction that, because if we're saying that 5 chapters from now is when Y-Man will show up, they need to do something with those 5 chapters. So hopefully the ground team will get some time to
yeah.
do some stuff during that
Hopefully,
period of time.
hopefully, because it just seems now like Inagaki is just like scrambling to like get as many characters in the chapters as possible.
Yeah, which, considering it's the final arc, that just kind of is how it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Uh,
then they use the Medusa to petrify them. After Senku repairs the ship, they use the Medusa to petrify themselves for the 3-day trip.
yeah, that for me, I was like majorly confused. Like, wait, why is Kuroko petrified again?
Yeah, so I think they had to be unpetrified to assemble the ship. and then they repetrified because Ryusui's there with them, so they don't have enough supplies for 4 people. So this is their solution to that problem. Because
Okay,
they
fair.
say once I'm petrified, I'll be another piece of cargo, not an extra drain on the life support resources. So it's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
more like a yeah, yeah. So I don't think they were planning on this, but then given the circumstances, this is the solution to the problem they
Yeah.
just happen to have.
Well, it would have helped if they had just said like, so we're going to petrify ourselves, make us into cargo before we actually get for the 3 days to actually get to the moon. Like if they had actually just said something like that, then it would have been less confusing for me because I was just like confused. Like, wait, why have they shown Kaku petrified again? That was just a
Wait,
bit.
I don't know. What do you mean? I mean, they gave a line saying they were going to petrify themselves, and why?
Where
I
did it
don't.
say that? Where did it say that?
On page 4, I mean, Ryusu says once petrified, I'll just become another piece of cargo, not an extra
Oh
drain
right.
on the life support.
Oh right.
That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Oh that. Oh Oh, that because I thought that was a flashback.
No, no, that's what they're saying right now.
Oh
Ryusui
right.
has the Medusa with him.
Oh right. Oh right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It just. All right. Yeah. Because it just see. Yeah. Because it's just like a bit jumbled up with like the way the panels are. Because you see like on pages 2 and 3, you see the panel with Kazuki and Ryusui, and I thought that was. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
but
that.
then we get Gen right afterwards, so then I think that's when we snapped
Yeah.
back to present time.
Yeah, and that's when I was a bit confused. That's why I was so confused by that. Like it was just the
Oh,
way
okay.
the panels were structured.
But then if you look at the panel under those, like after Sai says time to run numbers again, whatever, because they're on the trip, they you see the petrification going off.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. You see the petrification coming. Yeah. Okay. I completely missed that petrification beam. So yeah, that was my fault. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That makes sense.
That's all right. And then I do like how they use the Doppler effect to measure where the ship's going, because that is how they do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I
it's probably the simplest explanation for the Doppler effect you can get.
yeah, probably yeah, very simple explanation. Like, so, so, uh, so so amazing that even Gen gets it because Gen, let's be honest, he's kind of he's I'd say smarter than Taiju, not but still a bit of a dumb when it comes to science.
Yeah, but Gen is also supposed to be the audience surrogate for especially the beginning parts of the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, and I love his line on that, like, working for us in cell phones and microwave ovens too. So, like, yeah, that's yeah, pretty useful little thing they are.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And then they
then,
go on to just explain the sheer speed that they're traveling at, which is kind of nice because even their planes don't go nearly as fast. So, yeah, space is really big, so you have to
yeah,
go really
basically,
fast.
yeah. So you really have to go fast. So yeah, we cut to 3 days later where we see them just. I love just Kahaku's reaction. Like Senku's reaction is just like, yeah, we're finally at the moon, like just like the smirk, and then Kahaku's reaction is just like, wow. And then we see just like that has got to be one of the best moon pictures ever.
I know. That I will say is like the best part of this chapter. It's just the moon shots. Because even
Yeah,
though like not too much has happened, quote unquote, just like seeing the moon in space like this is just amazing.
yeah, because it just makes me at some point in the future, um, like when it actually becomes affordable, like I want to go to space just so that I can see the moon like that.
I mean, if we're lucky, it'll happen within our lifetimes.
Yeah, it probably will. It'll probably like in about let's say 40 years from now, like it'll probably be affordable.
I mean, I feel like even when it's affordable, not to get too political on here, but like certain things, like even insulin, should be way cheaper than they actually are, just based on how we can produce that stuff. So it also depends how businesses
Yeah,
choose to go about it. And yep, Sky said Dr. Stone, yep, always amazing chapters.
yeah. I love Doctor Stone every chapter. Yeah. What Sky said, what did you think of the moonshot on pages 8 and 9?
I
And it
mean,
just
it's not just 8 and 9. There's like several moonshots down the
yeah,
line.
yeah, but like the first moonshot, like it just goes to show like how like
I think
even
the first moonshot is page 6, but yeah.
yeah, page 6, but like the actual proper moonshot that we get to see, because it just like it's something that again we don't really take into consideration, but like how big the moon actually is.
Yep, which I think will be the explanation for why we won't see the Y Man just yet, because the moon is huge.
Yeah, yeah.
They are tiny. It's
To
like
be
a sixth
honest,
size of the Earth, but the
to be
Earth is
honest,
also just gigantic. So
yeah, to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if on the moon, like, because we only saw that one shot of where the Y Man actually was located, but we didn't really see any other shots of the moon. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Y Man is already preparing for something like this, and he's got
could be.
something,
I mean, he
and it,
would be picking up their communications.
yeah, and he's got something on the moon for when they arrive before they even get to actually see him.
Yeah, maybe that'll be what happens next. Who knows?
Yeah,
But then we see after the cool moonshot, we see them talking about the sextant,
yeah.
and apparently, I guess Chrome and Suika were like, "Yeah, this will be the perfect method that we came up with all by ourselves." And then Zeno's
Yes.
like, "Actually, they did this for the early Apollo missions."
And
And then
I love the fact that Suika finally gets her own. Like, of course they do it moment.
I no, didn't she get it with the multi-stage rocket when they talked about it?
I don't think she
Yeah,
did. I think that was just Chrome
hang
on
on,
his
I'll
own.
pull that chapter up.
Yeah, yeah,
Do,
you
do,
pulled
do,
that chapter
do.
up. But yeah, always a pleasure to when we see those moments as we get Sinu saying, especially once they reach the far side of the moon, as the communication will with Earth will be cut off. At that point, they'll rely on their own eyes and measurements to navigate through the looming void of space. Yeah, so this gets me worried that something is actually going to go wrong.
Okay, yeah. So I went back a page on chapter 217. Yeah, Chrome is the only one who fell over. So because it
Yeah,
was just next to him.
so we find
She does still say our never before plan was done before. So she still had the she still
yeah,
had the
yeah,
same
but
emotional
she did
reaction, but she didn't fall over.
yeah, so we can finally got the fall over moment, which is
Yeah.
something I never thought I would want, but now that I've seen it, I kind of glad we got it.
Yep. Same here. And
But
then
yeah, this
Zeno
makes
is
me
like,
yeah, I've just said that about the far side of the moon. Like, let's just call it what it is, the dark side of the moon. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I guess that's more the more scientific way to say it. But also, what's nice is that also tells us that for a bit there will be no communication between the ground team and the moon team, and that could be where things get interesting.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like something bad might actually go wrong, and like they might like I'm not saying this would happen, but they might already be preparing on Earth a like sort a one way rocket that was originally going to be planned to like send them up and just send people up just in case something bad has happened. Because then
Maybe. I mean,
because then they could dock with the other rocket and be able to come back as well at that point. Because because now that they know actually how to make the space capsules, they could easily make more of them, send people up there, see what's going on, and just dock with this and just dock with the spacecraft like what they've been doing.
hmm. Okay.
That's just what my that's just what I'm going with. Yeah, but Um, yeah, so we have Kawaku saying the back of the moon is all bumpy and lumpy, and Senku explains like it's because of craters from meteorite strikes where they were taking where the moon took the hit for the Earth itself, and Kawaku mentions like so even without us knowing, the moon has been protecting the people of the Earth. And this is where we get the reveal of like why Ryusui is up here, and it's like, yeah, I'm up here to take command of the whole shuttle. So you guys are going to be the ones that actually go down and walk on the moon, which makes sense for him because he essentially became the backup pilot. So it's nice that they're actually keeping someone in there just in case something does go wrong.
That is very true. And I also want to bring up a point I saw someone bring up on Viz, which I liked, which is that Kohaku's line about even without us knowing the moon has been protecting people of Earth, and the moon's referred to as a guardian deity. People said this might be an interesting parallel to themselves, just because they could have been like unknowingly protecting humanity. And so that's why they're kind of bringing up that little line about the far side of the moon here. I kind of like that
Maybe,
idea, depending on their
maybe.
motivations.
Yeah, it just depends on what what Wyman's motivations are, and like, um, are they like what Shon and Oji said? Are they going to be like one of the more morally grey, ambiguous villains, or are they just going to be like straight up like, no, I just want to rule humanity?
Yep. But I'm hoping it's not the latter because that would be kind of boring. So if it's the former, I did like that metaphor, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah,
But yeah, also then Kohaku's like was like trying to say, Ryusui, didn't you want to walk on the moon? And then Ryusui says it's like, ha, but isn't it more greedy for me to be like the one person who's on the pilot? After all, I'm a captain. And then Senku's like, yeah, let's just go with that.
yeah, that's
Because we know what he's actually doing.
yeah, we all know that, and we see the shuttlecraft undock with the capsule undock with the spacecraft and actually landed on the moon. And I love this point. I was like, okay, so we're finally getting onto the moon. We've got to have some sort of inspiration. Oh, I've just realized something. What if they're actually going to check all those craters for Wyman, like where Wyman's base is? Because you see,
There's way too many craters.
yeah, but like that one on page 14 and 15, like you see that big massive one at the end,
No,
like
I see what you mean, but that's like one of many craters.
yeah,
That would take them a while. But hey, maybe they will start just looking
yeah,
through the craters.
because
Oh yeah,
because
reminds me.
that'll be something that could stretch it out a little bit, like just searching for Wyman on the moon. Um, so yeah, we have Gen saying like, okay, now that we're on the moon, let's have a thought about the words that will be used for for the first moon landing in the Stone World. Uh,
Oh, and look, I sent you something on
oh yeah,
Discord.
oh wow, yeah, that is a
So just for everyone on stream, we see some scientists looking around, and when I was first reading this chapter, I thought to myself, "Oh, okay, here are the random scientists we didn't get to meet that had helped us on the rocket." But then that guy with the glasses and beard looked familiar, and then I traced it back. This might potentially be the scientist that Senku studied with in Africa. He has the same glasses, same facial hair.
yeah, I
He
think it
looks a bit
is.
older, but that makes sense from the passage of time. So if that is true, that is a good attention to detail, but also that means Africa is back up and running, and we didn't even get to go there.
Yeah, we didn't even get Diamond City. And if you think I'm disappointed, Sean and OG is disappointed that we didn't even get the Beaver Warriors.
Yeah, I have another YouTube channel I follow who really want to go to Africa because I think their family was from there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
it was
I
a huge missed opportunity.
yeah, and I'm disappointed that we got teased with Europe because I really wanted them to come to England.
Yeah, and
I mean,
Skyzed, they do, I think, have a general area. You're right, because they have a picture that they took, and like the moon would have been too big to blindly go through. But at the same time, it's more like it is still a general area. So where exactly in that area is the Y Man's base?
yeah,
Is
and
I think the thing
yeah, and they did
because that
mention
picture we took. Sorry, I just one thing. That picture we took, of course, is like to us a very small image, but it's blow that up to the size of the moon. That's probably like a whole country's worth of area to look for around. Go ahead, look.
yeah, and that whole image they mentioned that the whole general area was changing size continuously. They did mention that.
Yeah, whatever that means. God, it's so
Yeah,
exciting that we're almost there.
yeah. So yeah, moving back to the chapter itself, we are so Gen's like, what's going to be the first words on the moon for in the stone world? And we have Taiju saying, I've got one of them. I've got one flash of inspiration, the perfect line to say. And he basically just quotes Neil Armstrong, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And Chrome's like, bad. Like, how did you come up with something cool like that? And then this is when Gen says, yeah, you were just quoting Mr. Armstrong. His first words as the first human to walk on the moon, which credit where credit should to Taiju for actually knowing that phrase, despite
I
having
mean,
the
I think
brain.
most people knew that phrase, but I think the funny part is Taiji's so dumb he thought it was original idea,
Yeah,
and the fact that the Ishigami villagers never heard that before, so they were like, "Oh my God, Taiju, you're
yeah,
a
but I wouldn't.
genius."
Yeah, but I wouldn't. Yeah, but Taiju just having the brain of a coconut. I would have thought only three things registered with him: Senku, screaming really loud, and Yusuria.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But he does have a knack for farming. We did learn that.
Okay.
So
Senku, farming, and Yusuria. There's the three things that register with him.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. Then
Yeah.
there's a couple other random things you can toss in there, but I think like most of the characters in general are not like are probably smarter than we give them credit for, just because Senku is so smart. But at the same time, Taichu's pretty
Yeah.
dumb.
If I was gonna pick like the dumbest person that's not from Ishigami Village, Taiju would probably be that one.
Oh, and okay, Sky said we weren't really trying to insult you there, just so you know. But I thought most people knew the
Oh
Neil
yeah,
Armstrong's first
yeah,
words. It's like
yeah.
one of the most watched things ever in
It's
history.
like
So
it's like I yeah, we weren't trying to insult you as well. It's like it's just one of those general things that it's like, okay, yeah, you've heard probably everyone has probably heard that phrase before. So it's kind of like something like, oh yeah, we know it, but we just don't know where it's from. Like kind of like with like I'm sure people in Japan are like, oh yeah, I don't know. Oh, don't be, man, don't be. It's kind of like in
um,
Japan, like I'm sure people are just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, I know this character from One Piece, but I don't know anything about One Piece.
yeah,
Kind of
that's
like that
probably a
thing.
good comparison. But anyway, like everyone comes up with their own really bad line,
Yeah,
and like
so
they weren't even trying really hard. I think
yeah,
Size was the funniest though because he said achievement unlocked. I think that was like a fourth wall break joke.
that is probably a fourth wall break joke, but it probably would have been more of a fourth wall break if it was like first moon landing acquired. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
of
mean,
course,
I'm glad they didn't do that. That would have taken away from it a bit.
But
They
of
did do
course,
that.
Chrome's is just the simplest. The moon's bad because it's Chrome, and then we have Mozu. First time in a while we've actually seen him, like saying, "Now recruiting girlfriends, cuties welcome." Okay, who
And
you
then
say?
Kirisame is like right below him, like just like, why Mozu? Why are you like this?
I, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I guess yes, Skyzet has like at least recognized the phrase. Just told us.
Nah, I'm
Uh,
joking. The quote, yeah, yeah, yeah. So now you know where it's from. It's from Neil Armstrong when he first landed on the moon.
yep.
Even though
Anyway, it turns.
Oh, you want to know what? You want to know what I'm surprised hasn't happened in Doctor Stone? That conspiracy theorist hasn't been revived yet.
Oh,
I'd like to say, yeah, we're going to the moon. Oh, the moon. The moon is just because there's some people who actually believe this. The moon is just a projection.
okay. I was gonna say that some people thought the landing didn't happen, but yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, and some people believe the landing didn't happen, and they're going to be like, "No, we're going to give you proof right now that it did happen." And then they're still not going to believe it. Just like they'll probably not believe the Earth is round, even though there is pretty much substantial evidence like to that. Like, I'm surprised there's not been a conspiracy theorist, but there's probably going to be conspiracy theorists in the Doctor Stone world after the whole series is done. Like, but people believe like, yeah, there really wasn't a petrification beam, and it was just some government conspiracy.
Yeah, man, that would be something. But I
Yeah,
could see it happening. Anyway, so Senkyu, he really didn't put much thought into what his first words are
which
going to
of
be.
course of course he wouldn't. He wouldn't think about that stuff.
Yeah, I guess not. But at the same time, it was like, this has been his like lifelong dream. So okay, I thought he may have put a little
But
bit
no,
of thought into
his
it.
lifelong dream was just to go to space. It wasn't like actually to go to the moon.
Okay, that's also fair. And yeah, so then I did like how Senku just set up the stakes for us, where he's just like, if we don't beat Y-Man, we're all doomed. But if we do beat him, we get the secrets of petrification, which I'm also looking forward to learning about that.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then he, of course, then just has like his whole big moon landing moment with all humanity on the line, where we take their first giant step into the battle future of science. Get excited.
get excited. A lot
Of
of
course,
people
those
were
are his first words.
disappointed that his words weren't like 10 billion%.
Yeah, no, I think this is like 10 billion. I think this is more his catchphrase. I mean, I know he
Yeah.
has like multiple catchphrases,
Oh,
but
he
I think
has.
this fits better.
Yeah, he has 10 billion%. He has. This is exhilarating. He has get excited. He has like three catchphrases.
Yeah, but I think this exhilarating and get excited are kind of used interchangeably as equivalent translations, just depending on the context.
Yeah, but yeah, this makes more sense for this actual point in the story because he's literally setting foot onto the moon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what predictions for next chapter? Just gonna be like a chapter of just doing like reconnaissance on the moon.
I guess so, but I also feel like they need to maybe do a little bit more. And I do think at some point the communications have to cut off, like Zeno said. But if they were going to have a huge plot twist happen before meeting Wyman, it has to happen if it's not next chapter with the color page, which it could, because again, it's a color page chapter. It's probably going to be the one after that. Like either something's going to go wrong to delay them, or um, that twist will show up. Because I feel like it can't just be them just walking on the moon, as cool as that would be. Like that could
Yeah,
be like half the chapter, like most of the chapter, but then near the end, we're going to need something to be like, okay, but
I feel
we're on
like
the moon. We got it.
I feel like at this point because Ryusui is up in the spacecraft at this point, and it's just Kohaku, Stanley, and Senku. I feel like the as soon as Wyman detects them on the moon, he's just gonna petrify the whole moon.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I remember when the Ross came out. Yeah, if Ryusui is probably in the most danger because he's right next to the Medusa. But someone else brought up something interesting
No,
that we
no,
have
no.
to take into.
What I'm saying is that Wyman has his own Medusa on the moon.
Oh yeah, well if he has his own Medusa, there's also that. But they have resurrection watches, so it's not like the biggest concern.
Yeah. So that's my theory of what could actually go wrong. Like as soon as Wyman detects him, it's like, oh, gonna petrify the moon and stop them, and then that's probably what's gonna go wrong.
Yeah, but then they have resurrection watches, so that'll be a small delay, if anything. Of course, then Y-Man will have that to worry
But it
about.
depends. It
Um,
depends how much revival fluid is actually in those watches.
Well, there's that too, but I think there's probably a fair amount. Plus, they have those guns they still have to use to capture Medusas if they're ever out.
Yeah.
And the third
So
thing is that yeah, someone brought this up. The Medusa, as we know, the way it travels when the Earth was petrified is it kind of went across the surface, meaning it really doesn't spread inside the vacuum. So even when it accidentally went off a couple in this arc, I think it was after the glass broke, after the vacuum went away. So I think that there's also certain limitations to what the Medusa can do. Like for example, if the Medusa went off where Ryusui is right now, Ryusui would get petrified, but the rest of our crew would be safe because they would be on the moon.
yeah. Um. Also, Wyman's reveal is gonna be so hype. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yep. I mean, I can't wait for that. And like that's like the big thing they have to not screw up that in the very end of the series in
Yeah,
order to have like a
definitely.
good final arc.
Like so. Yeah. So and when we get to that point where it's like where because I feel like the chapter before that it's going to be like we're here, we're coming for you, why man, to be continued, and then like the chapter after that will be like well probably like in that stream we'll probably be like okay what is the why man, what do you think it's actually going to be before we get next chapter because if that's like going to be the cliffhanger of like we're coming for you why man.
Yeah, but I feel like if If it was like right outside his door, that would be one thing. But I feel like we're probably going to say that just because they're on the moon.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
we'll
a lot
just
to think about.
a lot to think about and a lot of theories about what Wyman is. I feel like Inagaki probably as planned for this. I wouldn't say absolutely at the beginning of the series, but very close after that.
Yeah, I think he has. I would trust him more than most creators to come up with a good twist at the end for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my theory of like it is a human that's that's mind has been um digitally attached to a computer.
Okay. I'm
That's
still of the belief that it's like an AI purely, but then I've seen one of my someone on Twitter who's like tossed some evidence against that, but also some evidence for. So even that idea is a bit debatable.
yeah, because we've had that because I sent that link over about like humans brains being actually digitally inputted into robots in the future. Like that's an
Yeah, and
actual
I've heard of that theory about consciousness being digitized. It's not like a brand new idea, and
yeah
it's possible. It's just I'm not sure. I don't know. It just that since there was like very specifically talked about in AI in the past, that's kind of where my brain was leaning,
yeah. So it
especially
might
some of the behavioral aspects of this Y man and the way they've used communication thus far. Because they don't really talk like a person; they just kind of spit out phrases. That's
yeah.
what's kind of weird. They've
So
never had a full on convo with us yet, for
yeah,
some
so
reason.
it might actually be a combination of both, like the AI and some, but it's from but the AI comes from a digitized humanoid mind.
We'll see. We'll definitely find out. I'm
We'll definitely
excited.
find out. But yeah, that is it with Dr. Stone. If you had anything else to talk about,
I think I'm good for now. Thanks for sticking with us, especially SkyZ. We
yeah,
appreciate your comments
full,
and
yeah,
everyone who came around.
yeah, fully appreciate it, guys, and hope and looking forward to find out what's going to happen in next week's chapters. So until then, peace.